So, as we all know, women do not write anything weird ever.
Oh god,
They
here we go.
definitely
Yep.
don't have an entire section of Kindle known as Kindle Vella, which is the most disturbing horny shit you've ever seen. They definitely don't have that.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I know what I write, and the Kindle Vella shit just blows my mind.
Honestly, the funniest thing ever is that the Kindle Vella shit makes Sign look like he's not a misogynist.
Right?
Yeah.
As much of a misogynist as I try to be, I can never compare to Kindle Vella.
Yeah, it is wild shit. So basically, the thing we're all joking about is on Amazon for Kindle, in a effort to let more indie people make profit off of their stories. Amazon started what is called Kindle Vella. It's supposed to be like this short story-esque pay per chapter system for the Kindle. Except the what ended up happening was that all of the top stories are written by women, and it's all just 50 Shades of Grey shit.
Most degenerate shit.
Yeah. So the way we discovered this was Kindle had the gall to give me a pop-up, and it's like, you've got 300 free tokens. Because see, it's like Royal Road, except you can directly pay there. Like, you can unlock each chapter with basically bits. And they're like, you have 300 free tokens. Come check out Kindle Vella. And I was like, yeah, sure, whatever. And I look at it, and the top 5 stories were the most disturbing shit. I remember this clearly because I was messaging Sneaky and Max.
One of the stories was literally called Alpha Breeder 9000.
Another one was
Elon Musk.
Another one was literally
check
called
the voice chat. You blind motherfucker.
Max isn't real. That is the ghost of Max Force past.
Yes.
Okay, let's.
He sounds horrible.
Okay.
He's on the phone.
Yeah,
I am an hour and a half away from my. I'm an hour and a half away at a high school because I often take my mom to my nephew's baseball game like a good son.
Yeah, and then after he did that, he informs me dutifully that he will not be showing up at the podcast, and I inform him, amusingly, oh, that's too bad, because we're having Aeon Black on.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, I am now morally obligated to come and prevent you from getting us all banned.
I was like, maybe I can hop on because I was looking forward to tonight because I read LeMay's stuff ahead of time.
Yeah.
It's not bad. Whoever she got as beta readers are clearly ADHD addled Zoomers.
Oh,
the pacing was fine.
100%. Yeah,
the pacing was the pacing was actually fine. Picked weird words for certain scenarios that were clearly. They wanted a different word, but they didn't know the word.
Yeah.
Like you have there was a one point where they used the word adverse instead of a verse. And I wanted to leave a suggestion, but they smartly did not allow editing or commenting on the document.
The southern accent comes through over the phone. Yeah, that's what happens.
What do you mean it comes through over the phone?
Oh no, it's much stronger over the phone, possibly because you have currently spent a significant amount of time in the presence of other Southerners.
Yeah, it triggered your Southern reaction.
Honestly, it's probably because what should have taken us an hour and a half to get up here became 3 hours because some dipshit had an accident. Some dipshit had an accident at the worst possible spot at the worst possible time of day.
Amazing.
Are you sure you're not in Illinois?
Speaking of Cascade failures, so I actually started playing RimWorld again recently. I'm just kind of vamping while we wait for LeMay to show up.
Well, I was gonna say, before you do that, Sneaky, let's finish talking about the horror that is the marriage auction.
Oh, yeah. Let's hear about this.
Yes, that one.
So this is actually still the top story. So Alpha Breeder 9000 did get dethroned, but the marriage auction is actually going so strong. It's on, like, chapter 300 and book 2.
Yeah. So this
And-
entire story.
Keep in mind, as we're telling you this, every single chapter you have to pay $1 for.
They're
This is a
making more money
top
than I
story.
charge.
And they're charging $1 per chapter. And I think it's got like what 300,000 reviews. So we're talking millions of dollars this person has made off of this
Look,
story.
Sneaky, you're getting the wheels spinning in my head. I want to like write an Elon Musk breeder fiction now. Just hearing the amount of
Jesus
money
fucking
they must be
Christ.
making. It'd be
think
so
I'll just
easy.
Permission to
to
ban this man.
So the marriage
Let's use this at
auction
first.
is honestly this is what we were talking about when we said like these stories like prevent us from ever being sexist again, because the marriage auction is a hypothetical world in where women are so high value they go to an auction to sell their hand in marriage that you pay for in yearly installments.
Jesus.
Oh hell yeah! Just Saudi
And-
Arabia. Let's fucking go.
And much like any other auction, they also include other things. So basically, the main character is telling the audience as an opener about the contract she just signed. And it's to this super rich dude. She's only getting $10 million at the end of the 4 years. She's getting paid an additional $1 million per year to be his wife. She can live at any property she wants of his. There's a maid service, and they take care of all of that. And basically,
Food and clothing are included.
yeah,
That's not coming out of the
every
million.
shopping trip she wants to go on is with his money. She can go out to any restaurant she wants with his money. All of that. The stipulations of the contract for her end is that whenever he wants to have sex with her, she has to agree. No matter what's happening during the sex, as long as it's not gonna hurt either person permanently.
Okay.
And
Pause button real quick. Like,
yeah.
is the husband? Is it like a 5'4" German dude?
No.
named Orville?
See, he's
Okay.
actually
No.
6'3", really ripped, blonde-haired, blue-eyed,
Rich,
multi-billionaire.
billionaire.
You
Owns,
know,
owns multiple
he's also
companies.
22 years old, and you know
Okay,
he
yeah.
goes to the gym daily.
Mm-hmm.
I see.
Yeah. So a real massive burden for her to marry him.
Yeah. Wow. That's so difficult, man.
Yeah. And so she's telling us about all of these amazing things, and she's like, I don't even care that I have to have sex with him whenever he wants. The only other stipulations are she can't cheat on him. If she has a kid with him, she's not allowed to abort it. And this was the deal breaker for her. I'm not even kidding you. Those were the author's words. The deal breaker was the fact that she would have to be a mom to the 3 kids he already has from another woman. And she's like, I don't know. For $15 million and infinite luxury, I don't know if I can take care of another woman's kids.
Look, Sneaky.
No,
is this
and don't forget. She'd have to take care of any of her own kids too, which was
Well, no,
also
that
part
wasn't-
of the
that
deal
was-
breaker.
That wasn't a part of the deal breaker. The deal breaker was taking care of the other guy's kids.
No, but she didn't even want to have kids. Like,
No, she didn't want to have kids. And she was like wish-washy about that one. But it was the fact that she would be expected to be a mom to the 3 kids that she didn't have. Where she was like, I almost don't even want to sign this.
Look, Sneaky. Is this restricted only to females? Is there like a male like domestic partnership where you can just play like Elden Ring and you just get like $15 million? Like, just asking
Well,
for a
I mean,
friend.
it's a marriage auction, so you'd have to find a woman who wants to, you know, buy your marriage contract, which is not
But I
as
can
likely.
hard code. I can play Elden Ring in it, right? Like that's
that is something
Romance.
you could stipulate in. So, and that was the thing. We were all like, "Yo, I'll take this deal."
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
all of us were like, "Fuck, damn." I mean,
Great. Deal,
Like, man.
sign me up.
Yeah.
Like every
But-
single person in the chat
yeah.
was like, "What is wrong with you? Take that deal."
yeah, it was crazy. But like all of the top stories are like that. Another one of the top stories was,
What was it
This
like
w-
Alpha Omega or whatever?
one
it
of
was
them
like
was an
the
alpha. That was the
Megaverse?
Alpha Breeder 9000 one. Yeah.
No, I thought there was
Um,
another one like that, but
There was another one that was basically literally 50 Shades of Grey, but instead of one really rich hot young dude who hits the gym, it was four
five.
rich hot young dudes who hit the gym who were all
8 of
fighting
them.
over her.
Hell yeah, dude.
What wasn't it?
Well-
8 of them, and then there was a 9th
No, 4.
who was stalking her.
No, a
Or is
fifth
this
was
a different
stalking her.
story?
No,
Okay.
you're
Oh,
remembering
yeah.
the correct story. You're just adding additional people
Just
to
adding
it.
additional people. Okay.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, dude.
I'm
Can
not-
I make?
the?
On sign being wrong, don't forget about the sign owl overflow that happened on Tuesday. So we
Yeah,
automatically get
everyone
signed
mark
up now.
off on your
Fuck
bingo
you,
sheet.
Kaz.
You can
He was-
add
He
sign
was so
L.
wrong. He was so wrong in his food opinion, specifically bacon, that he ended up with 2 L's.
Your country named a spider the big boy. I don't
Hey,
wanna hear
dude,
it.
Yeah.
bro. Hey, whoa, hold up. If I had a
Don't.
shoe-sized fucking spider that could kill me by looking at me, I would call
Yep.
it the big boy too. Reminder, we dropped the little boy and fat man on a country.
Call it spider,
Yep.
not the big boy.
Yeah, that's
No.
a spider. You don't attack. You roll for diplomacy with that one. You know.
No, you look at him and go, "Yep, that's a big boy."
You get a gun. You shoot it.
I'd be getting a peace treaty, dude. I'd be like, this is a big boy. You can't fuck with him. You know. It's like when you're in an MMO, like the zone's too high
Yeah, well,
level.
you
Like,
see,
get out, Australia.
unfortunately, that specific spider species in Australia sees the Geneva Convention as the Geneva checklist.
Oh,
So
the Geneva
diplomacy
suggestion.
is not
Unfortunate.
really yeah.
Wrong. There is, Mr. Big Boy. I've come to bargain. How many children do you want to eat?
Yeah, basically.
It's basically a dragon. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Phoenix.
I
just
will
said
give
something
you
here.
I will give you 30 sheep if you will bite my most hated foe.
True.
Yeah.
Eat that
I
without
had
the
a bit
sheep.
of back and forth with the author guy from last time. We changed some up. But I want to be committed to others. Okay. So last time around, Mr. Gun Toter here, he was talking with an author on Royal Road who wanted his opinion because he was also doing a really edgy gamer story where the apocalypse happened and everyone has gamer powers now.
Oh hell yeah.
Except for the main character, who's gonna beat everyone with gamer powers through the sheer grit and flex of being an alien from outer space.
As one should.
Yes, of course, obviously.
A super distant, basically 1% alien.
No, not
bloodline
even
name.
1%. We're talking hundreds of years ago, so that's at
Yeah.
least like 30 generations.
So like, what
And-
kind of alien? Are we talking like the Nordics or like
We
the
didn't.
Greys?
No,
we
no,
never found
Point-
out.
Earth
You
ring
know,
or something.
an unspecific space alien that somehow lets him, with only 0.01% bloodline, supersede every gamer-powered
Oh
civilian
Jesus,
soldier on the
that
planet.
bullshit.
Fuck yeah.
And
Hell
then
yeah.
his descriptions was using a cheat in the system that he's not a part of. He gets to beat people.
Yeah, it was very
That's so
edgy
fucking
too.
dumb.
He's no hero. He's an anti-hero.
Oh.
He's the next
Thought he was
Conor
an
McGregor.
anti-hero or some
Yeah. He
shit.
also calls
Oh, yeah, the
himself
next
the next
Conor
Conor
McGregor.
McGregor.
This dude is
After-
obsessed with MMA.
Weird. After doing a weirdly seductive whisper into another guy's ear and then slapping
Yeah,
him in
so
the face.
yeah,
Slapping
so
him.
we read his first chapter as an opener, and he slaps a dude, and then gets up really close to him and whispers in his ear that he just slapped him.
Like,
Yeah.
I'll be honest, it felt like the start of like some kind of BDSM thing. Yeah, I slapped you.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do about it? What?
It was-
Hey, oh, it's not what I wanted to read. Oh,
Yeah, it was kind of
Yeah.
weird.
It was. It felt like a BL fic.
Yeah.
Theo is just, so the author
Exactly.
replies back with, Theo is a normal guy with flexible morals. Okay, well then you don't have morals. If your morals are flexible, then you don't have them. That's kind of the point of morals.
That he
This is
isn't
my
fully
line in the
aware of.
sand. Well, I mean, it's not really my line in the sand. My actual line in the sand
line is
is
kinda
all the way over
squiggly.
there. But, like, I really
is-
like being over here, but I will change my opinion if I need to. It's like, then that's not a
Bruh.
line in the sand. That he isn't fully aware of because he hasn't had time to explore his flexible morality before this.
Jesus.
Okay. So
This is
there's
my
a lot of
suggestion in the sand.
growth. Yeah,
Yeah.
basically, yeah.
And
This,
Phoenix
this
just
is
posted.
my keep off the lawn sign in the sand.
So Phoenix responds with, okay,
Yes.
then what exactly makes him an anti-hero? Author. Well, that comes later in the story. Once he's actually had a bit of power and confidence to use it. He keeps accidentally, oh yes, of course, accidentally, seductively whispering in the ears of people he fights.
I accidentally Sweeney Todded 17 more people. Whoop!
Yeah. Whoopsies.
Whoops! I
my
accidentally
bad.
just airdropped the big boy, Newcastle big boy.
He
into
keeps
China.
accidentally pissing off the high-level heroes of the new world. One example is when he has a group of friends who are low-level guard-type people, and the city and its leaders come under scrutiny for something nefarious, and the hero wants to do something about it. So he attacks the city to get to the leaders, and has to go through the guards to do it, which he presumes are obviously complicit in whatever corruption the city is going on. Theo defends his friends against the hero into a stalemate, so the hero just leaves, which everyone now thinks Theo is the villain. And there's a lot more to it, but that's what makes him an anti-hero.
That's
That's
Right,
So
but
fucking
Hell
dumb.
yeah.
that's not
He's
even
not
what
part of the-
anti-hero means.
no. Also, he's not part of the system. How can he fight a stalemate with a high-level hero? He should get his
Oh,
ass
he
fucking
just
whooped.
flexed really hard. Didn't you know he's 100th Satan? Or Saiyan? That same thing, really.
Shut up! No.
You're right. Come on, Sneaky. Use the modern example. He's 1/1000th Viltrumite.
Oh, of course, obviously, yes, true. Yeah, am I
Remember-
losing my mind, guys? If everyone on Earth was suddenly sent to an alien landscape where they have to rebuild society and survive in a dog-eat-dog world, and some hero shows up and starts attacking the town, even for what seems to be a good reason, wouldn't literally the entire town be against him?
Yes.
Yeah, but the town can't do shit.
Yeah, they're kind of fucked.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, okay, so it's like, you know, how to put this. Caesar rolls up on Rome with an M1 Abrams.
Rome's fucked. They're just gonna bend over at that point.
Yeah, they kind of
Yeah,
just
sir,
have to take
Caesar.
it.
Average Civ
you,
game.
you have the magic boom boom.
Average
driving thing.
Civ game,
Fucking-
true.
Right.
Caesar is someone you can pick as your person to use in Civ 7, so that is an average Civ 7.
And somehow
Yeah.
Mexico's won with the space race. No one saw that one
Mm.
happen.
Look, Sneaky.
Yeah.
When I say when we say anti-hero, it's like antimatter. You know, you just
Yeah, well, yeah. You have your
Yeah, it
hero,
doesn't
so
fucking
clearly
matter.
anyone who fights him is the anti-hero.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah, true.
Listen, Mexico won because they stole Brazil's for Valitech.
There's no way the author got
yes.
stupider. Okay, yep, he did.
Yeah, he did.
So
He
Phoenix
got
responds
stupider.
with, here's the question for you. If the world has ended and everyone's trapped on alien world, okay, so he asked that question. How are supervillains and superheroes here? With society being reinvented by a complex array of modern values.
No.
Doubt.
No, I'm sorry. If
realism?
you've
What does he
ever
mean?
seen,
Listen,
like,
the-
Survivor, like, you guys have all seen the various
Yes.
Survivor shows, right?
Unfortunately,
Yeah.
yes.
Mhm.
There is very few of them, the ones that aren't staged, of course, obviously. There's very few
Where
of
they-
them where the person starts the season with, I'm not gonna kill any poor deer, and ends the
No.
season with,
X'd it out.
this local deer population severely depleted.
Mm.
Usually
it's
just
not
half
even-
the screen's blurred out for ratings, like reasons they can't even show, like
Yeah.
It's not
the
even-
violence.
It's not even that. Modern morals and values have literally shown us in the modern day, if you give superpowers to people in the modern day, you're gonna get the warlord fucking shit from in Africa and Worm.
Oh
Things are
well,
gonna be
yeah,
broke
but
up by warlords.
it's very clear that the only reason why we have modern values in the way we have them right now is because everyone is on a more or less equal playing field. Of technically speaking, everyone can have a gun. You don't need that much training with a gun, and you can just die.
Yes.
It just kills you. It's not like, oh, I have studied the blade for over 3,000 hours. There is no way you can defeat me, because that was a thing back in the day, because that person also probably had plate mail on, and, well, you were kind of fucked.
Yeah.
Kind of how it was. And then the gun came around and was like, lol, plate mail, that's cute.
Like,
break
howdy,
up.
partner. Is
Stream cut out for anyone else, or was that?
Uh-oh.
Yeah, no, it cut
it
out.
cut out.
The stream cut out?
there was a blip in the
Yes, it
space-time
cut out
continuum. Yep.
Stream's still working for me. It's still going
No,
on. But
I don't have any
Sneaky's shut
dropped frames. No, it's still showing.
It was
a steady
probably just a little
record.
hiccup.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just a Discord
There's a
side.
hiccup.
Because I was like,
Yeah.
what
Dude,
happened?
But
to
anyway,
everyone?
so as I'm saying, modern values comes from the fact that we're all on the same playing field right now, and you can clearly look. You don't even need superpowers to show this as an example. Just look at shit that happens when you have the chiefs of police in cities and shit, where there's just enough people that they can spread out being corrupt, that it doesn't affect enough people for it to be an issue. Because, like, if you have a town of 100 people, and if you go around and you're a shit-ass police chief to every one of those 100 people, you're gonna get thrown out.
Yeah,
but if you're in a city,
99 people throwing you out.
Right, if you're in a city of 10,000 people and you're a shit-ass to 100 people, no one's gonna fucking care.
Unless it comes out as big news as a scandal, so then they can be
Yeah, well,
entertained by it.
and that's kind of the point of management, is to like diffuse the responsibility of like screwing people over, you know, is
Yeah,
is kinda
basically.
keep that tension.
And so, you know, cities enable that massively as well. And but that's my point though, is with these larger populations, a 1% fail rate of if you fuck up at 1%, you get fired. In a small town, that's one person. In a large city, that's 10,000 people. There is a way bigger amount of time you can spend entrenching yourself and being corrupt as a person with lots of power before you actually have to do anything about it. Before anyone even tries to do anything about it to you. And by then, you've probably paid off the judges. You've probably paid off the mayor. You've probably got other rich friends who have paid off other people, so good luck at ever getting to trial in the first place.
And then you throw in a power disparity of superpowers that some people have or everyone has, and the people who go the furthest and have stronger powers, like, they're just going to rule.
Well,
they don't care
yeah,
about your
and the
rules and
superpowers
laws.
just exacerbate the issue, because previously, when, you know, in the current society, you have to play the economical and social game. But when you have the ability to shoot lasers from your fingers, and you're immune to bullets, well, consequences don't really mean that much to you anymore, because you are the consequences.
I'm the captain now.
Like, the only reason Worm even worked slightly, like, they should have been nearly post-apocalypse until Behemoth showed up.
Yeah, pretty much. That is the way.
He should have been the only reason that people were like, oh fuck, we can't go full power, we can't kill each other, and now we got to go back to society because we're all fucked.
Pretty much, yeah. Honestly, it should have turned into a broken mess of warlord states that then reunified to fight
the
Apocalypse
Embers.
Demon.
So
Yeah.
I'm having a bit of a smooth brain moment. So is this related to the Weaver's Oath of Service thing, like the?
I actually have no
values?
idea. Is this fan fiction of? No.
No,
that doesn't
Theo
look-
is
no.
its own OC.
I think it's just a
OC world.
convenient overlapping name. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, except apparently, despite the fact that we've had alien visitors and it's who knows how, if it's modern day or not, they haven't actually responded on that. Conor McGregor's known as a celebrity.
I can't get over
Yeah.
it's Conor McGregor. Like every time I hear that, I'm just
Yeah.
like, wait, what?
Like
Anyway,
this guy
so,
hasn't even. I don't
Let's
think
go.
this guy's even given a time period. It's just everyone's got gamer powers, and then there's MMA fighters of just normal MMA fighting. Who's a
No,
celebrity.
no, the MMA, no. So it was normal world,
Mhm.
MMA fighter, normal
Yeah.
world,
And then everyone
giant
got powers.
rapturing. Everyone has
Oh.
gamer powers now, and he doesn't. So he was the next
Hmm.
Conor McGregor in normal modern world before the rapture.
Oh,
Then the
this is
rapture
like
happened.
this is dark Conor McGregor. It's like if he was an Irish
Yes.
Catholic, you know, he wouldn't
Yeah.
rapture.
Dark
Yeah.
McGregor.
But anyway, so point being is that in a world where everyone's got fucking superpowers and you can gain the ability to cut a building in half by just swinging your sword a lot, I really don't think modern morals and values are gonna do anything here. Besides, like, maybe if you want to say, like, the initial setup, people initially
Stream
tried to
data.
There we
rebuild
go,
the
there we go.
towns.
Yeah,
Shit
there,
broke
there's
up.
definitely a stream hiccup, and you might be like losing frames like every like.
No,
minutes or
zero
so.
drop
Sneaky.
frames.
Huh.
When you went, when people can cut a building in half with a swing of their sword,
Yeah.
and then it just cut out nothing blank.
Were you still hearing me over Discord, or is it just...
Not even
No,
on
I think it
Discord. You
might be
just
a
broke up
Discord.
again.
I-
You
I'm
just broke
sure
up
it's-
again, but it
it's
says you're
Discord.
talking. It's
Sneaky
Yeah,
cut
it's
out.
still a
Discord shitting
hiccup.
itself.
No, it's definitely fucking Discord doing it, because I'm looking
Yeah.
at my audio bar
Gotcha.
on my OBS, and it is having no problems at all.
And when you just cut out again on Discord, for me, it went straight down to red on connection. So I'm guessing it's Discord shitting itself again.
Yeah, it's Discord.
yeah.
shit,
If it's
Also-
Discord shit... They're trying to shut
like
us
a-
down!
Oh no!
Listen, the global elite, they're conspiring to shut down the stream, folks.
No!
Put
We got-
another
Alex
dollar
Jones.
in
We've
the
Hold
got
on.
two new people on the stream. We're getting rid of the shadow ban. We can't.
Yeah,
show-
we're breaking
I didn't know
through!
you had this happen.
Breaking containment.
We're breaching containment. They can't stop us.
Alright, wait, where's
Listen,
the
YouTube,
thing where I can...
1776 won't commence. Oh, sorry.
He's fine on stream, so it's just Discord.
I'm trying to
Weird.
figure out fucking Discord. There's a fucking thing in Discord that I can
Hang on.
click to switch the
Does it show up if you're in stream mode? Because you might still be in that.
no, this is for the audio server. I'm trying to
Please.
figure out how
Yeah.
to swap the audio server.
I just realized everyone is cutting from Discord when that happens, not just Sneaky.
Yeah, no,
yeah, that's what I'm
yeah.
saying.
Discord
It is
fucking
everywhere.
literally Discord. Does no one fucking listen to me?
No, I thought it was
They
just
don't.
We
Sneaky and
can't
Yeah,
Discord.
hear you
we're
because
just-
you're
we're-
cutting
I
out.
am explaining to you that it is Discord's audio server.
Yes.
And it's cutting out while you're explaining that.
Apparently, if Discord didn't selectively tune you out, we're just selectively tuning you out too.
Also says
How
it's constantly
the
speaking.
fucking
Yeah,
change
apparently
audio server region? Go to voice channel settings. Okay, voice
I see.
channel settings. Under the server settings. Okay, so server settings, voice channel setting. I'm not seeing a voice channel settings. Delete server.
Hell yeah. Look,
Do
telling
it,
you.
do it, do it.
look, it's
No.
just too high of an IQ score. You just create a singularity. Discord can't handle it.
Yeah, I know, right?
Oh, I think there's a different thing creating a singularity.
Oh, it's like a negative, like room temperature IQs.
Mhm.
Creating a cold fusion.
Yeah.
voice regions. Okay, so what the fuck? How do I select the voice region? Region override. Your voice channel on the server. Wait, we do it by the fucking channel? Wait, is it? No,
Okay,
it's
so while I
not
figure
by the
this out,
channel.
so have you guys legit been throttled for like making Alex Jones parodies?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
no, not even Alex Jones stuff. It was just like back in the day, we used to have like an average of 40 to 50 people showing up at one point, and we were like steadily rising. And then Twitch announced a change being made to how they show content, and same thing on YouTube at the same time, and then suddenly we didn't get people showing up anymore.
Algorithm, fuck.
Literally
I
overnight.
think stream hasn't. Yeah, I think stream hasn't even hit 5 since then.
Damn. You hear that, folks? It's the analytical
We hit
algorithm.
12
DARPA.
once.
Deep in
Well,
the
It's the
bowels of the
Illuminati.
Rocky Mountains.
Was 12
Well,
during a
Chemicals
New
in the
Year's
water are turning the frogs.
I don't have to tell you,
Wait,
folks, but they're turning the frogs gay.
It's really
I would
weird
try to
how
help you,
Alex-
Sneaky, but Discord Mobile still sucks for moderators.
It's really weird how
sorry,
all
no,
of
hold
Alex
on,
Jones'
wait,
theories seems to come true.
no, permissions, no, and then in the voice channel settings, so under overview, oh, wait, fucking, yeah, here we go, oh, God, fucking, thank God, oh my God, okay, Jesus Christ.
We have breached containment. Hooray.
We've done something.
Okay, so that should have fixed it.
Hopefully.
No, it's still cutting out a little bit.
Really?
Not for me.
Okay.
I heard you
your
okay.
voice
I don't.
just cut out, Cass.
Yeah, but that could
Alright,
just be because I'm
So
Australian.
then we need to change
Yeah,
our
could just
region
be me.
again. We are going to go to the West Coast. Alright, so let me know if that's still cutting out for anyone. Anyway, so as I was saying, human
okay so
nature,
far.
blah, 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 you know, the normal typical shit of modern morals ain't gonna fucking happen. Anyone that thinks modern morals is gonna happen when everyone can shoot lasers out of their ass, they're high. I mean, Cyberpunk,
Yeah.
great segue. Cyberpunk's a great example of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, dude.
Yeah.
We've got modern
go
day
ahead.
examples as well of fucking dictators. China, North Korea, Russia.
No,
Look, you
sure,
don't want
but
Walmart to take the world over? Come on, man.
yeah, exactly. But no, I mean, like, you
Bezos.
know, Cyberpunk is typically, I bring it up as a non-modern example because it's depicted as a dystopia, like usually some sort of apocalypse of some level has occurred to society, you know, environmental collapse or whatever, that's used as an excuse by the author to explain how the corporations managed to overcome the government militarily.
Yeah.
I feel like called out right now.
I mean,
Well, I mean-
literally, the literal name Cyberpunk, the series Cyberpunk, literally has that. I'm certain the rest of them have it. I can't fucking remember any of them because I haven't read Cyberpunk stories in a very long time. Like that's
Yeah, they're kind of anachronistic. Really, they were cool like in the '80s, but after about 2008, it's basically a documentary. Like,
yeah,
honestly.
you know, yeah, I'm pretty
No
much
shit.
so. Yeah.
Wait.
Anyway,
you
so
don't want. Wait. You're telling me you don't want to bend down and suck Amazon?
wait, you mean Nestle
Whoa,
should
I never
steal
said that.
everyone's
I
water?
just look, Jeff Bezos. If you're listening, I announced $1 million contract to play Elden Ring. It's on the table. Like,
And I will praise you endlessly as I do so.
Mr. Bezos.
No.
I
He's
will
not
volun-
asking you to Elon Musk it.
Mr. Bezos, I will.
No.
volunteer for
If I was
Worldwide
going to
Sword Art
Elon Musk it,
Online.
I would pay someone else to play my account.
yeah, Elon Musk. I will pilot your dude. I actually legit Diablo 3 got rank about 700 in that. I played.
You
the
didn't pay
Archon
someone?
Mage. No. I was when
That's crazy.
So dude, I was such a dweeb. I took like 2 weeks off of work, and I was like, I'm just no-lifing Diablo 3, and that's what I did. I have a screenshot. I can, if you ever need me to prove my.
No,
I
we
believe you. Yeah.
Listen, right now I still have a modicum of respect for you as a human being and member of society.
That's a mistake.
Well, I mean, if you have a modicum of respect for him, just don't ask to see how many hours he has in Stellaris.
Yeah, hey. I'm not saying I go in there and just design species and civs, but I might just do that for like 500 hours.
I mean, I don't have anywhere to complain. I have 2,000 hours in Stellaris, so I don't know how I have 2,000 hours in Stellaris. I don't remember playing Stellaris that much, but I guess I did.
In fairness, you definitely fell asleep for at least 60 of those hours.
Okay, but that's still 60 of 2,000.
I'm just saying, like, there's a substantial amount of that where you are just passed the
out.
fuck out.
No, to be fair, I didn't pause the game. It was still running. That counts.
Ooh. And did you ever
You
have
know.
to go do something?
But
and
it was
took
late
way
game.
longer?
So about 2 months passed.
No, frankly, nothing would have happened because the first event would have occurred. It would have gotten like an hour
don't pause
in,
on
and then
events.
an event occurred and paused.
I don't pause on events.
All right, but like, what difficulty are you playing on? Because I feel like at some point,
Oh, Grand
the
Admiral.
game. Oh, for real? Have you like beaten it though?
Yeah.
Wow. Like, so you're just, do you just have it on like auto management? Like everything's just like checking off boxes and shit?
Oh
and just,
yeah, no,
like,
it's all about the
hit snooze button?
blitzkrieg. You know, abusing certain systems.
Right.
You know, it is what it is. I mean, you know, it's
Right.
why I don't really like playing against the super advanced AI in a lot of games, because under a certain difficulty level, it's just like, oh yeah, the AI gets like plus 500% resources. Free units spawn on every single one of their planets every single month, and it's like, okay, well,
It's blatantly
Alright.
cheating.
yeah.
Dude, yeah, I was about to say, once I figured out an exploit in that game, it was funny on max difficulty because it's like year 10. I've like cranked out like a legendary admiral with like a Titan vessel, and I just go to the nearest system with this like one Titan vessel, and it's like, hey, do you want to be my vassal? And they're like, no. And so I just dumpster them. I go to the next guy, I'm like, hey, you want to be my vassal? And they're like, sure. So I just go to like half the galaxy. I just vassalize them. I'm like, okay, so it's like year 15. The game's already over. Like, bet.
Yeah, yeah. So anyway, what else do they say here? Some people find themselves in power may decide that they can enhance their productivity with slavery. Okay, look, first off, everyone knows slavery is terrible. I mean, like, I'm not even talking from a moral standpoint. Forcing someone
It's
to
just
work against their
ineffective.
will is incredibly inefficient.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, it's a terrible idea.
Especially
themselves
if the person you're
willingly.
trying to force against their will to work has the ability to get stronger working.
Yeah.
Like, if
Of
you have a
course, if you
gamer
don't
system.
feed
No,
them-
so I say this, I literally do this in Kenshi. It is actually a community-wide starting strat where you play as a non-human race and you get captured by the Holy Nation, and the Holy Nation, when they capture a non-human race, they bring them to the work mines, and every single time you mine iron, you gain strength, and every single time you haul iron, you gain strength and endurance.
Oh,
And
no.
so you literally just do this, and they feed you for free. You don't get attacked. You're defended by an infinitely spawning NPC base. And you just do this until you have 100 strength and endurance, and then you shout, I can break these cuffs, and you bend the iron bars out of your way and punch everyone to death.
Yeah.
Wow, that was way cooler than what I did. Is I got confused and then got my ass beat, and I just hung outside a base and tried to draw kite ads to the guards.
Well, that's
Loot
about
dead
like
bodies.
99% of what people do for their first run in Kenshi.
Yeah.
Like, literally everyone's first run in Kenshi, it's almost like guaranteed is, I'm gonna run outside of this city. Oh, look, a monster, I'm gonna fight it. They get their ass absolutely beat and their character eaten. And then they're like, oh shit, they make a new character, they see bandits this time, they're like, oh, well, I can fight the bandits, I won't fight the monsters. And then the bandits kick the shit out of them, and they're left crawling on one arm, and because both legs got broken and their other arm got chopped off by some bandit with a cleaver, and so then they bleed out on that one. And so the third save is like, okay, I'm gonna be smart about it this time. I'm gonna try and track the bandits into the guards. And then it turns out that they're wearing too many armor pieces, so they run super slow, so they get caught up and get their shit kicked out of them again and their legs broken again. And then a dog comes along and eats their intestines.
Yep.
Jesus.
See,
Average Kenshi run.
You skip the spite run where you just Steam Workshop, like you play like Master Chief or some shit. Just, like,
Yeah.
I am a Spartan, and this is my territory.
My current favorite run has to be so far the legendary tale of Bruce Lee, the ant guy.
Is that the unarmed one?
Yeah, it's the unarmed one. It's the ant people, and they're like completely unoptimized for physical combat. But I made his legs really tiny and short, and I made his upper body fucking massive, and his arms massive, and his head really small, and so, so I
That sounds
just
hot. You got a screenshot?
I mean, it's floating around on Discord, and literally all I did was stand outside of cities and fight everything that came my way with the martial arts gear on. And whenever I got knocked unconscious, the city guards would take me to the infirmary, and I would have to pay to get healed. But because I kept looting all of the people that got killed by the city guards, I would have enough money to do it. And so I just stood outside accepting all challengers as the city got continuously attacked, fighting people until unconsciousness.
Dude, you're
How
Dark
are you paying for
McGregor.
these,
Everyone's got gamer powers except you. And you just beat the shit out of people.
What do you mean
Yeah.
you're paying with all the fucking bits of scrap you got from all the people you killed? You can't do that. Yes,
Snakey.
I can.
Snake, you should sue Horikoshi for stealing your Deku idea.
True. True. But yeah, so good times. And then the legendary tale of Bruce Lee ended when he went to go fist fight a terror beak and got eaten.
Oh, hi, LeMay.
Rip.
Yeah, LeMay's been here for a little bit, but yeah, we'll get to them in a hot second. Let's finish up with this author here. So anyway, slavery's back on the menu. Because some people said so. And capital punishment is necessary for evil. Okay. Sure. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't disagree, but it's kind of weird that it took superpowers to bring capital punishment back. There aren't any
Not really,
heroes or
because
villains.
Here's the problem, Sneaky.
Yeah.
Ultimately, right?
Yeah.
A cartel crime lord,
Yeah.
very powerful,
Yeah.
controls people,
Yeah.
but ultimately you can stick him in prison. And if the courts determine that he should be in prison for the rest of his life, you can keep him there pretty simply.
Sure,
Right.
but what if I don't want to pay for him to be in prison?
But my point, Sneaky, is that if a society chooses not to kill people, we can imprison them on an indefinite basis until they're
Yes.
dead
Yeah.
pretty simply.
I'm aware.
Compare that to Superman exists,
Yeah.
and we don't know what the fuck to do about him.
Yeah, I mean, that's
Right?
fair.
We can kill Superman, but we can't make a jail for Superman. He's Superman.
I mean, technically, Batman has a jail for Superman. No, I see what
Yeah.
your point is.
Yes.
Yes, and in the rare case of Superman, in order to keep him prisoner, you're going to have to give him literal super cancer that will slowly kill him. So at that point, you might as well just shoot him because it's nicer.
Oh.
I've
Well,
got a
technically
good counter
speaking,
to
then-
Superman. Just make a
Yeah.
more popular character like Batman,
Oh,
and then
true.
just Superman, he'll just die. You know? Like that's
Nailed it.
Also,
they'll
on,
find a way.
on this author, is anyone else getting college communist vibes from this author?
Oh, I
Capitalism
mean,
bad or bad?
obviously, 100%. No, I'm sorry,
Yes.
they looked at Hell Difficulty Tutorial and other gamer stories on Royal Road and said, I'm gonna go make my own, but with blackjack and hookers, because my character's gonna be super edgy. Oh, what's he gonna do that's gonna be edgy? He's gonna fight for people and save them. Okay, that's what you consider to be edgy.
That's edgy.
Okay, communist.
Do you guys have like a link for this, or because I'm just looking at the stream to like see what?
Oh, if you scroll all the way up in the FF9K chat, there should be a
Alright.
bunch of pictures and
Phoenix.
stuff there. We
I
keep
gotcha.
this channel specifically for everything that happens during the podcast, so
Yeah. Oh, and
Cool.
this guy's ultimate enemies is going to be the high-level heroes that hate him. You mean the people in charge who control
the
everything?
corrupt villains that were oppressing everyone and killing people because they could. Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
this that Neo penance thing next to that toaster fucker dude link, or what am I looking for here?
No, no.
Oh, no, no,
You're
no,
looking
that's
for
a
any
podcast.
posts by the Mr. Beyond Racism.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
Really
there
only
aren't
the most
heroes and
selfish
villains
people
in
in
a
this chat.
comic book
He,
sense. They just
he
see
said
themselves
the
that way.
scribe.
That is literally the comic. The
That is the comic book sense.
The heroes and villains in the novelistic sense is a ideal. It's a fucking world of forms ideal thing. Like it's
Trope.
Gah!
Yeah.
Reality mirrors fiction.
By the way, Aeon, you can probably find what we were talking about underneath the clip where I put Sign pleasures himself with Soul.
True.
Okay.
The more they see themselves, I plan to highlight all of the complexities and nuance. Will be a morally gray setting.
Fuck off.
I hate this shit.
Everybody who
Bro,
says
just
my
say you want to
character's
write a
morally
realistic
gray.
story. It's less cringe. Still stupid, less cringe. Oh, it's morally gray, guys. I'm gonna have my guy do things that might not be heroic, and he's gonna do things that might not be villainous. He's gray.
You know, if I could ever sit down and concentrate long enough to write my own story, I would just open up, hey, this is my power wank fic. Don't like it, fuck off.
Yeah, true.
Fair.
It's more
True.
honest.
At least that's
Yeah,
honest.
absolutely, yeah. As mentioned earlier, a hero will attempt to stop atrocities committed at the hands of the city. Well, I don't really understand. Okay. The guards obviously won't let him when he is arrogant to the point of saying why he's there. So the hero shows up and is like trying to swagger into some location, and the guards are like, yo buddy, you can't be here. And he says to them, you aren't a threat to me, I am a hero and I'm gonna stop the corruption in this city. And the
then beats him
guards
up.
go, okay buddy, that's cool, but we
still
can't
can't.
let you in, it's against the law. And so he beats them up.
Yes.
Yeah, whatever, idiot. Don't talk to
Don't
me.
you know,
Please
people
be
with
nice to me,
power
sir.
are
I have my
bad.
orders.
Okay,
People
it
with
was
power are
like,
bad and corrupt.
yeah, I mean, I'm just really confused here. Like, he doesn't have to be morally gray to beat up guards stopping him from going in. He can just be a stupid idiot. Like, some people
As every
aren't malicious. They're
Yeah.
just
No, that's
dumb.
Stupid.
That's not Theo. That's
In
the,
the
hero
words
that
of-
he. That's the hero that he gets in a stand down with. That he.
Right, no, that's what I'm saying. Is
Yeah.
the hero showing up to fight the corruption he heard was in the city
Yeah.
doesn't have to be this morally gray, malicious actor. He could just be stupid.
Yeah.
Bold is me, the normal text is the author's response. The heritage aspect isn't interesting and overcomplicates things unless he's like a saying or something despite being 20 generations removed. It is similar to Saiyans, actually. Oh wow, how do we fucking know?
Yeah.
Oh wow, it's kind of like the 100. It's like kind of like the 1/16th Saiyans that can still access Super Saiyan transformations despite being diluted. The alien race is a huge player in the video game system, and he eventually learns to integrate their technology to rise to unbeatable levels of power that keep him capable of competing with anyone. Oh wow, that really makes it an edgy, hard-hitting story where because the story is advertised, as a edgy, dark story where the MC has to use his wits and grit to fight against all of these superpowered individuals. Except then the author just near immediately basically just goes and says, yeah, by the way, he's going to get all of these technological power-ups, and he's like 1/16th Saiyan, and he can go Super Saiyan. And yeah, effectively, he's not going to use his wits or grit at all to win ever. He's just going to get a bunch of power-ups that other people don't have access to beat them.
Look, dude, my question to you is like, who doesn't like when you're like listening to like classical music like Beethoven, and then just like 45 seconds in, there's just dubstep just starts slamming off, and then it just starts turning to some chill wave like EDM, and it's back to classical. And you're like, that makes sense.
I hate that shit.
I mean, that's basically what you're pretty much right on that one, yeah.
Listen, the only time I've liked that was during Dover Hattie's unbiased history of Rome.
That
with
was
Hadrian
pretty
the
funny.
Great scene. That's
Yeah,
it.
that was a pretty funny scene, yeah.
Yeah,
He eventually
this does not seem
learns
like
blah, blah, blah.
intentional remix.
Oh, that keeps him capable of competing with anyone, coupled with his immense innate intellect.
That only shows up in battle. That only
Which
shows
comes
up in
in
battle.
when he's fighting, and the reason why he is so good without the technology. Bro, just tell us you want to write a power wank. Like, don't invent hoops for your character to jump through to justify you writing a power wank story. Just write the fucking power wank.
Yeah.
It's also so bad that this is obviously just a huge ripoff of Worm. That's instead of being grim derp is 5% grim, 95% derp more than.
It just it's like grim derp 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 derp.
Derp.
Derpity derp, derp, derp. Derp, derpity derp, derpin.
Maybe a little
somehow more
but no
grim
more
derp than 6th edition Batonia. And that's
Still
fucking-
self-report. When you're reading it, it just sounds even dumber. It's so dumb. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
See, that's the really cool thing about reading stuff out loud is it makes shit sound even stupider. And you
True,
go, oh,
So
Man, that's
there's a
really
question
fucking
here. I found the Robert E. Lee 2.0 post where it says
God.
10 sorry, beyond racism. That's what I thought in my head. It's
Oh,
Robert E.
yeah,
Lee. But it said I had a bit of back and forth. Is that where it starts?
Yeah.
The 7
yeah,
PM one?
that's the
Yeah,
one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, a question I have is like, how long is the story supposed to be? Like, is it a flash fiction? Is it part
So
of a serial?
it's a full-length
novel.
internet story, and by full-length internet story, I mean it has no determinate end to it, because these people generally kind of write whatever they really want to wank to, and
But
they
you can
just keep
tell the
updating
author-
chapters after chapter of it until people get tired of it and stop paying them to write more.
But
Okay,
you can
so
tell
it's
the
like-
author hope that because it's Royal Road, which is sponsored by Amazon, I'm pretty sure, or something like that. They're hoping
A lot
that
of people
they'll
hope that their story will get
they'll-
picked up. Yeah.
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 Dude, they are not ready for my Elon Musk breeder fiction. It will
Because
destroy them.
it's actually very interesting because the culture around internet posted stories has changed significantly compared to published stories, in that there's some stories out there with like 1,000 chapters still under the same story title, and it's kind of like, could this be broken up in the books? Sometimes the answer is yes, like Undying Scarab. Sometimes the answer is no, where sometimes you'll have plot threads that are going 100 chapters strong that were like the original motivation for the character to do something.
Oh, so his goal is to slowly just have him paywalled behind Patreon by having enough viewers that they'll pay him.
Yes, pretty
That's it.
much. Yeah.
That's
You
right.
know, that's beautiful. It's like a hyper capitalist version of I don't know if you've learned of L. Ron Hubbard, the founder of
Yes.
Scientology, but
Oh,
he
yes.
also
Yeah,
you know,
probably
he,
have.
he,
aware.
he just writes shit, you know? It's like I'm gonna make a 900-page science fiction yarn, and like if enough people get it, I'll have my own religion, you know?
Yeah.
That's
No,
these are
quite
baby
literally, that
Hubbards.
is what's going on. No, people are trying to do that model. It's what I've been trying to tell you to do, to a certain extent. Obviously, you're going to be coming out with the published book, so you'll actually have an advantage over these people because they effectively have to rush week to week trying to get their next chapter out, so their plot tends to fall apart.
Oh man, like
But if you already have
I-
everything pre-written and then you drip feed it every single week, you're going to get shit tons of people paying you to read it. You can get shit tons of people paying to read it early. You can get shit tons of people buying it when it comes out officially as a book. It's like, so the Beware of Chicken guy, the
Yeah, I
guy
was
that
gonna say,
convinced me of
Casual
this
Farmer,
model.
I was about to say
Yeah.
Listen, go.
No, so his
and
stats
spend a
just
little bit
came
of
out.
time.
Yeah.
I know, but I was just gonna say for our friend Mr. Aeon Black here, go and read the story. Beware
It is a good
of
story.
Chicken.
It is.
Like,
I
it's
just wish I
really-
liked Youngster enough to actually get through.
No,
all of it.
no,
That's
the,
all it.
the key part of Beware of Chicken is you have to know the tropes of Wushu Fix
Yeah.
to understand what
I mean,
he's
here's the
doing
thing.
in
I
it.
hadn't. I'd read like one book, and I still didn't enjoy. Like I had
Oh, that's
the
fair.
most surface level knowledge of the tropes. He
Yeah.
does a good job writing interesting characters and actually giving them arcs, right? Like
That's fair. Yeah,
Yes.
that's true.
uh,
yeah.
Tigger and Big D
Tigger.
and all those
Sure.
guys.
But
Yeah, no, certainly. And so, but anyway, my point being is, though, is he actually just recently dropped some stats. Because
Yeah.
someone asked him, why is your first book still not back on the free market? And he was like, well, guys, I'm going to be honest. The reason why the book is still on Kindle Unlimited and has not been taken off and put back for free for everyone is because I am earning $4,000 a month from it.
Yeah.
From
he
it being on Kindle.
passively makes
Yeah.
Book
4K
1. He's on book 6
a
now.
month.
Yeah.
Well, I would say he's on book 6 on the written work, the online stuff. For Kindle published stuff, I think he's
book
up
4.
to book 5.
And
Yeah,
you
something
know
like
what's
that,
ridiculous? There's also Beware of Cloud, a alternate universe of him going a different route that he could sell his own book series as well once Beware of Chicken gets
Yes.
big enough.
Which he is planning on. That's
He's
what I'm saying
planning
is
on-
you quite literally, now that he's built the audience, he can just do continuous spin-offs to continuously build a greater and greater passive income.
Yep.
You know what's
But-
brilliant about a lot of this shit is like a lot of these people that are just like auto-generating content also freak out that AI might replace like their jobs when it's like some of them like when I'm thinking these L. Ron Hubbard like fiction like type things, I'm like wondering if there was no content, like it was algorithmically generated for like 1,000 chapters. Do you guys? How often do you get Chat GPT stuff? Sorry if this is like a complete.
Never.
Oh, a
tangent,
lot.
but-
That's
Not
Oh,
all that
oh,
often,
in the podcast, I would say
a bit.
at least one story per
but
podcast.
Infant has sniffed a few things out.
Well,
Yeah, we've gotten some, but
Like 2 podcasts ago, I think we had like 4 different stories in a row that were all Chat GPT
Yeah.
written.
You know what's
Toaster-
brilliant?
Toaster fucker can smell it.
Yeah, literally, we at Toaster Fucker and throw the fig at him, and we know how much AI there is based on him and how hard he gets.
Yes. Unironically.
You,
yes.
unironically, his name is Toaster Fucker. He's known as the Toaster Fucker in chief. He's on the user list as that. He's a
To be clear,
massive
to be clear.
AI.
he wanted that
Yeah.
title.
Yes.
He's a massive
The man is
AI
proud of it.
fetishist.
Mm.
Yeah.
Very, very, very good sign is when someone's an AI fetishist. You know, like this year's like CES. I've been listening to tech journalists where like there are all these like anthropomorphic, like bipedal robots that are trying to be shown off.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw
And
that. Yeah.
If you
Yeah.
listen to them for more than like 45 seconds, it's like it'll say like, as a large language model, I believe blah blah blah. And it's like, dude, you can't even for your like display model. I mean, allegedly, this is like secondhand information, but I heard this multiple times. this AI is barely even functioning, and we're already like
Well-
$500
Well,
million
yeah.
deep. Like, what's going on
yeah.
with this shit?
No,
Not just that,
Well,
but
it's-
also-
so
They
it's-
have a reason for that.
No,
The AI
it's
has
a-
a name, and
hang-
it's called Crack and Hookers.
No,
Shut up.
no. So there's an
Yeah.
actual
Hang
no.
on a
So there's an
second.
actual reasoning for this, and the reason why, even though the currently produced product and even the future produced product is looking to be pretty disappointing in terms of money spent versus value received, the thing is it's sort of like the next moon race. Is in the process of reaching the moon, we are inventing so much technology that we didn't even realize we needed to get to the moon.
yeah.
And
Yup.
we are dumping all of this money into it because everyone wants to be the one that lands on the moon with the first working shuttle. They want to have their hands on the winning horse because
They
Alright.
want to have the first working
Sneaky,
AI.
But
And
we
I-
need to be
like-
super clear here for anyone who's listening. All of the people that are saying we can get it in 5 years or 6 years or even 20 years, they are all grifting.
yes.
We are
Mm,
nowhere
we've-
remotely
No,
close
yeah.
to
Nowhere
getting
We've
there.
had
It,
listen,
it's
we've had
again, I'm
automation
going
for
to
over
use the
20
moon race as an excellent substitute for this. We have no idea how
How
long
long.
it's
Yeah,
going to
we got
take us
no
to get
idea.
there. We can
Yes.
estimate
Full
off of our
disclosure-
current knowledge, but we
Full
have
disclosure,
no fucking
I
idea.
have $900,000 in buy options for the meme coin cum rocket. So now, having said that,
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
sure. I'm sure there will be no rug pulls occurring during this
Yeah,
stream.
no,
You're-
the AI is great, guys. Invest in it. Like,
Killionaire
Yeah,
is kind
uh-huh.
of right. Our most advanced, closest to true AI we've got right now is a VTuber, Neurosummer.
Yeah,
True.
And
so
even
I was gonna
that
say,
is so far away. Like,
so
Yeah.
to massage what you
She's
were saying,
good.
Sneaky, with the moonray stuff, like I would say we kind of want to have a moonray situation, but our industrial systems, we have financialized it so thoroughly that the society that was capable of the moon landing in like the 60s and
Oh,
70s
absolutely, 100%.
is rotted out, you know,
It's-
and
oh, it's
that's
totally
that's
gone.
kind of where we're at right now.
Yeah.
Also,
Because like
We've
I
had
know
automation for like 25 years now, longer. People, like, if they were really going to take every job, it would have already happened because people would have put more money into advancing that.
right, and
Well, I
that's
mean,
the thing,
it's again,
to
it's
that
sort of like the
point.
moon race, is that it doesn't matter how
Mm.
much money you put into it. It's you have to figure things out as they come. You have to first make the first AI, realize how it fails, iterate on that, realize how it fails, iterate on that, and you just
Okay.
don't know how long each iteration is going to take.
Sneaky. Okay, so to massage this really quick, I'll give you guys the quickest elevator pitch possible, just so I'm not taking over. Is if you look at DeepSeek, for example, with China, because I know China's a boogeyman, so on and so forth. DeepSeek for about what was it, like $6 million,
Yeah.
basically did what OpenAI or Olama or these other large language models were doing, where it basically forced them to have to invent more or be cheaper because they actually are inflating prices. And so because there's
Yeah.
a market incentive, so like
okay, hang on,
OpenAI,
hang on.
yeah, what's up?
They did it for $6 million because they basically stole everything. Now, I want to be clear.
Yes,
That's
they-
China's MO.
They
Like,
effectively
there's nothing groundbreaking about what they did. They spent
Yeah.
$6 million slightly differentiating it from the 3 AI models they stole. That's what
But-
they did.
Yes.
But let's massage this then. So to steelman your argument, corrupt Atin, because I'm not an AI expert. Just a preface, you know, I'm a random science fiction author.
Yeah.
But basically, even if that's the case, for how cheap they were able to run a comparable technology on less hardware, and then it
Well,
basically
no.
forced
So
the-
to poke that there, so we actually did some testing. We got an AI programmer, dude, whatever, in another server that I was talking to about this. Is
Mhm.
effectively the advertised model, which was the 32 gigabyte model of DeepSeek, is not the competitive model. The competitive model to the OpenAI platform right now is the 658 gigabyte model. That is not runnable on any person's home
Okay,
hardware.
so-
We're talking
Yeah.
like
Okay.
No,
$50,000 plus in server hardware to run this. So
Okay. and
yes,
I'm
it's a lot
willing
cheaper,
to- yeah.
but
And like, but the main thing that I'm especially concerned about this AI stuff is after it was revealed like a potential viable competitor in the AI market, weirdly enough, like various AI tools, like for example, I follow a lot of stuff with ChatGPT.
Oh,
They're
yeah,
talking
GPT
about different
4.5
pricing
just came out.
options, yeah, and
Yeah.
all this stuff. And I've tried like the $200 like ChatGPT thing because I was curious. I was not really that impressed with it. I went
Yeah.
back to like the normal like $25
Yeah.
one. Like I don't know what the fuck they're doing out there, but they're
Well,
making hella
it's-
money.
it's this other
But
major
that's just
issue,
it. They're not.
right?
They're not making money though. That's it.
That's
like,
fair. They are burning money. That's true. That's the
They're
crazy
burning a
thing.
lot
They're
of money.
making money, but it's also unsustainable. That is true. That is
Well,
that's the
again, that
crazy
comes
part.
into the same reason why Patreon is unsustainable. You would think normally as a platform that Patreon would be easily sustainable. You need like 5 dudes, a server rack, and then you take money off the top of everyone getting paid, right? That's not what happens,
Yeah.
because the problem is that these guys go out, they sell the idea of Patreon to investors, they get a shit bucket of money. And what do they say with this shit bucket of money? Do they increase the server capacity? No. Do they make everything better? No. Do they pay programmers to make the service better? No. They pad their fucking paychecks.
Also, they hire HR.
They hire their friends, they hire their family, and then they pad those paychecks. And then they
Yeah.
use the business accounts for personal expenses. And basically, it's a lot of graft and corruption going on. And this is what Elon Musk was talking about with the OpenAI team as well, is that they were doing a lot of really corrupt, suspicious shit with all of the money they were getting that was causing them to lose copious amounts of money. But because, like Patreon for a while, it's currently being seen as the new fad to invest into, they're getting so much money, they're able to pay off the previous investors
It's a
to
Ponzi
keep
scheme.
getting more. Yeah.
Literally a
100%
Ponzi.
Ponzi scheme. Yep.
And-
That's and that. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
It's going to eventually all collapse, much like Patreon's system did.
100% already. I've been hearing from tech journalists that there's inklings like Microsoft is like, I think it was Microsoft, where they're basically various financiers are starting to ask questions with this AI stuff because it's not going anywhere. It's like a lower grade version of the metaverse where it's just completely falling flat, you know?
Well,
Well, okay, yeah.
I think it's
okay,
also
no, hang on.
completely.
Metaverse stuff failed for a completely different reason
true.
because
That is fair.
fundamentally, because while I am not an author, I've been reading my entire life. I've read a shit ton of books. I am a business major. The problem is people who wanted to create the metaverse, they read Ready Player One
Yeah.
and
Snow
wanted
Crash.
to jump to they read Snow
Yeah.
Crash and Ready Player One, and they wanted to
right
jump
to
to
the
the
end.
end of those things without understanding the in-universe reasonings of how those things came to be.
Yeah.
They were like, yeah, I want to sell Microsoft coins, and I want that to be on par with the US dollar, not understanding that in order for that to happen, you have to have a platform so massive and worldwide spanning that there is value in Microsoft coins outside of the ecosystem. You have to allow. You also
Well,
have to
I
be
mean,
willing to
that's
allow
also
people to
that's not
cash those things
entirely.
outside of that ecosystem.
Yeah, I mean that's not
and
entirely
set up
their
ways for that to
fault. A
happen.
lot of people don't understand how money works these days. So they kind of think
Yes.
if I just create a money object, I'll have money. And it's like, no, that's not how that works. People have to see value in your money object for it to be worth anything.
Don't,
And they're like,
Yes, because
I don't
the entire
understand.
conceit of fiat. Yes, the entire conceit of fiat currency is that none of it's real, none of it's actually worth anything. The only reason the U.S. dollar or any modern currency has value
The
is
debt's
because
made up
everybody
and the money
agrees that
doesn't
it
matter.
does.
Because we
Guys,
said it has
guys,
value.
don't forget,
Um,
you paid in cash, so because it didn't go out of your bank account, what you bought was free.
True.
That's,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, and corrupt Atin. Another two things
You can just
based
call me
off.
Atin, man. Just
Or
Atin.
Atin, yeah. I almost think like Atin, like one of those creatures, with, like 2 heads. It's like a giant. Like I don't know. Just
But it's
just
Atin.
probably-
It's Mandalorian for stubborn.
A teen.
Oh, okay, right on. Yeah,
that's
but
where that
like
came from.
I always think of there's a joke with cyberpunk writers where it's like, oh joy, I've created a story about the Torment Nexus 5000.
Yeah.
It's like a business dude. It's like, oh, the
Yeah.
Torment Nexus 5000, perfect. Yeah. Actually, I told Sneaky years ago, I was thinking of a scene in one of my stories where I was considering like in New York City, there's just all these like brutalist, like cyberpunk, like skyscrapers, but there's just a patch of grass randomly in the city, and it's actually like the most valuable like real estate because it's this like metaverse like mansion. There's just like naked people just walking around with VR headsets just on this patch of grass. And if you like step on it, it's like a federal crime, you know?
Yeah.
Sounds
That's
accurate.
basically
Yeah.
But yeah, to give a quick example, the closest thing to a metaverse as all these executives want it to be, right now it is literally World of Warcraft. Not because World of Warcraft is particularly still going strong, but World of Warcraft has achieved such a level of ubiquity and use throughout the world that some failing nations, the value of WoW Gold
Well, gold.
is
You can
more
make true
than
money off mining WoW Gold.
Yeah, you
gold
can make
because-
actual
because
money.
there are
Yeah.
people who it's in Venezuela. I'm pretty sure it's Venezuela
Yeah.
whose
For
economy
RuneScape.
is
There's
been absolutely
Venezuela
free.
and some other places.
Yes.
RuneScape, same thing for
Yep.
Gale and Final Fantasy, right? Because those people can actually go and spend 8 hours a day playing those
Yeah,
games.
my 9 to
doing the
5
most
job
efficient
is
thing to
killing
make money.
kobolds.
Yeah.
Right?
But see, that's just it. That's
No, no.
just it. That's how a metaverse type system.
No, I am
becomes
aware. Yeah,
established.
it's parallel
Not even that,
economy.
like, some people can
Yeah.
go and farm one mob, and it's like, oh, got the rare drop in 2 hours. That's $2,000. My day job's done.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
Right, but
I don't know how
anyway.
many of you
They
guys
just do
played.
dungeon runs.
I don't know how many of you guys played RuneScape, but like I love just walking in an
We're
area
all
that's
over
like a level
30.
3 dude. Yeah,
Yeah, we
dude.
all played
He's
it.
got like the wood cutting, like skill cape. He's level 3, just chopping the same yew tree. I'm
Yep.
like, definitely not a bot. No way.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just so funny.
But anyway, so reel it all way back in. Let's start covering
Zoop.
LeMay's story here.
Yes.
Every time I hear LeMay, I think
take
LeVay,
candle.
like
Yes.
Anton LeVay.
Yes.
Do you guys know who that is?
Yes, we do. Yeah.
Who?
Oh, wait a minute.
So to start off with, LeMay, the whole Weaver's Oath of Service, I'm not really sure what you're going with here. If this is supposed to be like, is this like supposed to be the opener? Like this sample that you sent us is the opener. This is how your story opens. They're typing.
Local man is typing.
Where the hell is Goose? You know, take candle.
They're Goose.
Well, I
Why do
guess
they
I
need
was
to be
expecting a
someone?
honk. I was expecting a honk.
I'm sorry.
Tactical goose
Well,
action.
Like,
I
look,
thought
man,
You didn't
I can drink to that.
invite him to the FF9K server.
You can
did
drink to tactical goose action.
I thought you just sent him a link to the actual stream to watch.
Who?
Silence.
Goose.
Augers.
Wait, who's? Wait, someone brought Goose
Wait,
here. Wait, I'm
Wait,
confused.
No, Sneaky, no,
Wait,
I
what?
was saying, I thought you only sent Goose links to the stream to view. You didn't send him an invite to the FF9K server.
No, he.
Oh,
he can't,
yeah.
He can't,
No, I
he
didn't
can't-
know, because if he wants to join, he can. I didn't realize
Yeah.
he wanted an invite. I was just saying this is where we were. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just.
Oh.
I was
No,
just
I didn't
talking about
say
it,
to
stating
do
how
it.
he was on, made a chat in the YouTube comments. I was like, who the hell
Yeah.
is Goose?
Yeah.
Yes, should I cut it? No, okay. So if this is your opener, this here, this chunk here, this actually makes for a really solid, like, you know in the movies where they have like one of those pithy quotes on a black screen before the movie actually starts? You know, usually something about like war or heroes or doing
Or you
good
have
or
one
something and
person in front
sacrifice.
of a
Duty
crowd
or
making an
change or
oath
whatever.
something.
Right, yeah. This is a perfect little quote here. This is actually really good. It's really nice. It's neat. It gets its own page before you open the story. So
Yes.
like pull it out of the opener of the story, make it a pithy quote on its own page.
Yeah.
I don't know how you do that for Royal Road or whatever you're gonna post it on, but I'm sure you'll figure it out. Maybe
In a real
make
book?
it post it as its own chapter or something. I don't fucking know. The point being though is separate it from the actual story. It's a mental thing for people.
Mm.
If you keep this the way it is, where they go from the Weaver Oath of Service into all of this here and whatever this is, the actual start of the chapter, just this is great as a single pithy quote.
Mm.
But if you put it into the chapter, it becomes that stupid pithy quote that cringy authors put in front of their
Yeah.
chapter.
Yeah,
Mm,
it
yeah.
looks almost like you should treat it kind of like an epigraph in some way, where there's
Yeah.
a bit of disconnect from the actual prose.
Yeah,
you know.
exactly. Yeah.
If your story was an actual book with like covers and all that, if I turn the book over and look at the back, this is something that I would want to see on there.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. Yeah.
Definitely.
Or if I open the book and this is the
Yeah.
first page and it's just that,
Yes.
I'd be like,
Yep.
okay, I'm in for something.
Yeah. All right. This
Something
is
is
giving me at
definitely
least
on,
some
line.
interest. But it also
Another
is a bit of an explanation for what
another
the story
key part
might hold.
here, if Weaver is an occupation, always make sure to capitalize it. If it's an important occupation, capitalize it. If you're trying to
Doesn't matter if it's an important
differentiate it,
occupation or not.
well,
If
I
it's
mean,
an
no,
occupation,
it's
it should
kind
be
of like
capitalized.
I mean, it's 50-50, right? If you're trying to draw attention to the fact that they are a weaver, like it's important that they are a weaver, capitalize it.
Mm.
If you're like, oh yeah, I'm a tailor, you don't really need to capitalize that. Technically, you can because it is a proper noun, but you don't need to.
Yeah.
But if you're trying to draw attention to the fact, because I only say this because they start off the quote with saying Weaver's Oath of Service. So clearly, being a Weaver, getting its own oath of service is an important enough thing, that it's an important enough thing that you want to point out, so always capitalize.
With
And
just-
interestingly, it follows and also breaks the rule at the same time. Because Empire,
True.
there's a presence of mind to capitalize that, and then Weaver, meanwhile, was lowercase. You know.
Yeah.
The fact that
So-
you've got just there at the very beginning the Weaver's oath of service, it implies that this is something that even the regular citizen will go like, "Have you heard about what happened to the Weavers today?" Like it's something very important for everyone to talk about.
True. Yeah. I declare to
Yeah.
use my gift of controlling Aether. Again, this is another thing. If this Aether is important, capitalize it.
Yeah, it's like, listen, in D&D,
Well,
magic is capitalized because it's not
Weave
magic,
is also
it's
capitalized.
well,
magic.
no, hang on,
You-
hang on, hang on. If Aether is like mana, don't capitalize it. It's something so
True,
common
yeah.
that even though
Yes.
it's important, it's completely ubiquitous. So you don't capitalize that shit.
Right,
the
but
other
it's the
hand,
difference
Normal use
of
mana
like,
or
but
Yeah.
but if it's like, oh, controlling the Aether, like the Aether is a thing.
okay, if it's a title
yeah.
thing, then yes.
Yeah, if
Like
it
proper noun.
if
thing.
you use mana lowercase to control the Aether uppercase, that's one thing. If you use
Uppercase,
Aether to
yes.
cast spells, the Aether would be lowercase, spells would be lowercase, or possibly, depending on how your magic system is set up, spells could be capitalized because they're this like big important thing that not everyone can do. So it's just how you capitalize certain nouns is very important and plays on the mental capacity of a person reading the story to notice which words are important and which ones aren't. Like say if this was an Avatar: The Last Airbender story, Master of all elements would be capitalized. Each word in that would be capitalized except for
Right.
That's a
And
title.
you get rid of the instead of just have master of all elements with a capital instead of just the master.
Right, no, but I'm saying if this was an Avatar: The Last
Yeah.
Airbender story. This
Yeah,
isn't.
yeah.
So don't.
No.
But anyway, so yeah, controlling Aether. So Aether looks very important because it's the master of all elements. So capitalize Aether.
Mm.
With restraint and for the benefit of the Empire, Nivelles, and its people. People would also be capitalized here because it's an important thing.
Mm-hmm.
By the people, for the people, of the people. All
Yeah.
capitalized.
And there's no empire without the people. So.
So this whole part of with this oath I intend to blah blah blah.
I just had a JJK flashback of Maharaga with the sacred treasure.
So
So
this part of the oath I would
potential.
either rephrase into being a continued quote of like a second paragraph of quote of pithy quote, or remove all of these bulletin points and just
I was
explain
about
them
to
later.
say, if I was a reader, I would probably just kind of the first part would be cool. I'd see this and be like, okay, whatever, and then skip it to get to the next part.
Yeah,
like,
it's
it
kind
just
of
needs to be padded out.
If you're doing an oath of
Yeah, make it
service, it's
organic,
kind of
'cause it's-
implied.
It's telling, it's not showing right now.
Yeah.
is the problem.
It feels like these bullet points should be something that, like, in basic training, you overhear it getting screamed out by soldiers training by the
100%.
commanding officer.
Yeah, true.
Officer got,
No, that's
Um,
exactly what I thought.
yeah, so like the commanding officer goes, private da-da-da, first part of oath, and they go to defend its people or all that and shit like that. And it's
Right,
just
exactly,
random
yeah.
soldiers yelling
Yeah.
it out.
You could do you could even do like a kind of training montage as like your
Mm.
opening scene of like showing a character in a developmental stage going through this process, because then we're seeing it as there's action. So then it establishes what this Weaver is, and then you can just get straight into the meat and potatoes of the story.
In
True,
the form of
yeah.
a movie, I would see your main character like doing harsh physical training and having flashbacks of while this is
Right.
said in the background, essentially.
Yeah, also true. Yeah, also a definite possibility.
So
These
I
scenes
think
in the war movies
content
are classic
development.
big value. Yeah, exactly.
Mm.
And now, well, because it is a book and not a movie, it does definitely take on a more difficult way of giving the information to the reader. Because obviously you can't have multiple things happening at the same time. You can't have the visual clutter of someone doing jumping jacks while the oath actually gets recited, and you can pan around, show the whole base, and
That'll
you
just
know
confuse everyone.
you don't get the screen time to share the audio and visual. You only have the visual to work with here, so you have to cut.
Sneaky. What I'm thinking of, I immediately thought of like Dune with like the Gom Jabbar, where like you could do like the first couple that kind of lives out that Weaver process, put a pause, and then have like your vibro sword fight or whatever, where the other aspects of the Weaver is explored.
Effectively,
yeah.
They
don't have to all be statements or yelled out. They could even just be like a description of, do you see those two men? They embody blah, 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 blah.
Right.
Or it could even be, if you want to get the whole thing out at once, you could literally have them in like ethics class or whatever, because that is part of most like when someone's being given power and authority, the institutions that are built to last longer than like 5 years have at least a nominal ethics course. I'm not going on my rant about ethics courses, right?
Yeah.
But there will be a what is right. It'd be what is our oath and what does it mean and how will you what are some situations where you might have to
good
exercise
example
your
is
authority?
if you watch it or read it. One Piece recently did one where Garp was explaining to an entire classroom of rookie Marines what is your justice and all that, and then you've got this old man and this kid. What do you do? Who do you save? And someone said both. He's like, no, leave the old man. His time's at an end. Save the kid. Because that is your duty for the future.
I will say, if you do want to keep any of this entire second segment, this is another. You did nail the pithy quote for the closer. For this is an honorable profession graced by heaven, and for the sole benefit of the Empire, I acknowledge and accept that breaking any of these laws is an act of high treason. And you don't say can be punishable by death, is punishable by death, or will be punishable by death.
Punishable.
And that adds
will be punished by death.
Stakes to whatever's going to happen next.
Because can be kind of implies, oh, someone broke it, but it was for a good cause. We're going to let him go. Oh, what? You broke it as well?
Right.
Who cares?
Exactly.
You're dead.
Yeah.
It doesn't show equality between the Weavers who all took this oath.
Yeah, exactly. So then we have the opener, Chapter 1, Emperor's Eyes. Okay. I was wondering when you would make your presence known to us, rang a sinister voice. What makes a voice sinister?
It's probably the emotion or it's the opinion.
Why it's sinister.
Yeah,
exactly.
Give us a little setup for who this person is, or their surrounding. Right? Are they sitting? Right? Are they doing the classic evil vizier sitting in a chair with a shroud of darkness over them? Is there a clandestine meeting happening?
Sinister is a word that you should use for a voice once you've already given us an opinion of that character.
Alternatively, sinister can be used when you've already set up the scene. Bond is making his way into the room, looking around. The room seems quiet and there doesn't seem to be any traps, but Bond knows something is up. Suddenly the doors close and a sinister voice rings out. So glad you could join us, Mr. Bond.
Yeah,
because again, it's doing a telling, not showing. Like, imagine it was some vizier in like a villain lair sitting in a chair. That gives a much more different vibe when I read that quote, and I already can tell through context it's sinister at that point.
Not only that, you can also have plenty of versions of sinister voice, and you really want to make sure your audience is on the same page. You can have the sinister voice of, the Bond villain. You can have the sinister voice that people might imagine if it's lines being said by some religious higher up figure. Someone comes in, lots of religious garb. They're the high dragon priest of the Empire.
And they start shouting Warhammer 40k Imperium quotes. Ignorance is the best shield against knowledge, or blessed is the mind too small for doubt. That kind of stuff, right? Because those are objectively horrifying quotes.
Yeah.
Or
so if you want to establish that the religion
it could be like
horrifying.
a politician just like loading a gun or something, just
exactly.
Just
I mean, there's plenty of ways to make things sinister, but everyone's got a different idea of what sinister is, so you want to paint the picture a little bit more so they know what kind of sinister to go with. Is it the slimy kind? Is it the physical force threatening kind? Is it someone with immense social power? Is it someone with, you know, a horde of fucking guns behind them? Like,
You sound like the used car salesman.
That, well, I said slimy already, but yeah.
Yeah, right.
That's why I brought it up.
The growler, the zealot, the common collected. Yeah, exactly. There's lots of sinisters you can have, and it's important to set the scene beforehand so everyone kind of knows what's going on. Because otherwise, you know, you have the Bond voice in your head as you're writing this, and what they're imagining is like the zealous priest, and then the zealous priest is like, "So glad you could join us, Mr. Bond," and they're like, "Huh?
What?
That's weird. You're doing it wrong."
Yeah. Like a better way would be stern voice, harshly rang would probably be a better way to describe this.
But either way, well, even Stern has many definitions as well.
Again,
Stern as a parent, Stern as a drill instructor.
That's
So a better way to set this up is to swap these paragraphs.
Shouting, like, because this.
Well,
is one
no
thing
one
that
was
sometimes
shouting.
People... No, but you just had people in the mind of shouting because the oath or whatever. Was
the oath of service.
Yeah.
Well, no, because here's the thing.
But my point
the
is...
oath of service isn't always shouted, and like I said, this is why again. What it reminded me when I first read this is it reminded me of the sort of thing you see on a fucking plaque. You know, the oath of service.
Didn't they have a thing where there was like the people?
Like, no one's done anything so far. No, that was all hypothetical. That was all hypothetical.
Separate to the scene. So these seem like two separate.
Okay, I understand. Never mind. That was
anything that I don't say didn't happen. Everything that everyone else says didn't happen.
Steve, I need you to never mention my bills again.
Oh, yeah. Let's do some of that.
Anyway, so I would just say swapping these two paragraphs here, because we have the paragraph setting the scene right after this sinister voice. Ivan emerged from the bushes with a bead of sweat. With a single bead of sweat?
Is he
okay?
Is he
interesting.
Doing a funny thing?
I mean, if
single bead
nervous...
of sweat rolling down their ashen face. I'm feeling it's not.
It's just lengthy prose. All you need to do, just say Ivan emerged from the bushes with sweat rolling down his ashen face. You kind of compress the sentence. It's
I mean, I mean, also on top of that, like this is what I'm saying though. It's like when. You have to be careful with what words you use, because a bead of sweat rolls down their face can be a nervous thing, but if they're emerging out of bushes, you also are setting the scene of them being in a place where there's bushes, which means it's usually a forest, which means if they're emerging from the bushes after someone's like, "Oh, so glad you could join us," it's probably not nervousness, it's probably because they were just running through the forest.
Right. I gathered it was physical exertion. I'd say they can tighten the sentence a little bit. I think we just need to see more of what's being developed. You know.
I think their prose is fine. It's more in where they're delivering it and when they're delivering it and what word order they're choosing. So if they were caught, like if this is supposed to be a scene where he was like spying on them. And then one of the mob bosses is like, "Oh," or whatever the fuck they are. I'm assuming mob boss until told otherwise.
Okay, I already have thoughts. Like, for example, that sentence: "An enigmatic weaver dressed in royal blue robes slipped out a slender hand," so on. You could put that as like the first sentence, or like in some way that right there. Then when I hear, "I was wondering when you would make your presence known," then I kind of understand.
Actually, you know what? Yeah, make this the first paragraph. The weaver being like, "Oh, come on, I'm waiting." And then Ivan emerges from the bushes, sweat coming down his face. His cover is blown, and his uncle's gonna punish him. And then, I was wondering when you would join us. The sinister voice said.
Yeah. So just and it goes back to we just need some sensory details at the start. I think it was a good opening line. I think keeping that kind of punchy opening, like surprise, like you had, but just establishing the scene a little earlier would just reduce the confusion a little bit. And otherwise, it'll be a solid scene.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Mhm.
Ivan could not see the Weaver's face, obscured by the dark of the night and the stark shadow from his hood. Stark shadow?
It's Dark Shadow.
Yeah,
it's
'cause
nighttime
if it's
already.
Dark,
Yeah,
unless
I
there's
mean,
like torches or some kind of like
What's-
glowing light.
unless his hood is unnaturally dark. Like
He's got, like-
the hood is darker than normal darkness, and it's like staring into
Sneaky.
a fucking void.
He's got that Darth Vader helmet from Spaceballs, but it's like a hood, you
True.
know?
Yeah, yeah.
I can't see anything in this fucking thing.
Yeah, so again, very, like, I understand what you're trying to do here,
Right.
but, yeah. But he knew there was a smug grin plastered on it. Yeah, you see,
How did he know?
here's the problem, right? You mentioned their face at the start of the sentence, then you spent a huge chunk of sentence giving descriptors in between, and then you're like, oh yeah, by the way, his face was smug.
Yeah, a little bit
Why
of
don't
confusion here. I don't it'd be hard to see sweat and like especially coming out of bushes.
In the dark?
I was thinking daytime at first, and now I'm realizing it's nighttime. And then if there's a hood, and then he's like sweating, it would be weird for him to be grinning too. So just kind of
No, so the
shifting
Weaver's
focus.
grinning.
Oh, okay.
The Weaver's
my
being
confusion.
this snarky bastard. Ivan, the main character, is the one sweating.
Right. Okay. Yeah, like because you have a really good like movie like set piece scene here. Yeah, set the scene exactly. You're really close. Like we just need a couple like load bearing details, and it would all kind of fall into place. So
Yeah,
that's really it.
reorganize it a little bit, change up the definitions of some of those words you got there.
wait.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
wait, just to get on the page, is the guy the I'm assuming the one that was said waiting is like the smug, but
Yeah, he's the
level
smug Weaver.
asshole?
Yeah, he's the smug
Why
ass
not-
weird, yeah.
Why not like play it as like the cocky like I guess like the slimy bastard, like oh yo hello yo friend, like an old like like the friendly guy who's like the fake.
Well, he's the slimy bastard of the Weaver calls out again, come on, I'm waiting, come outside. That's how the Weaver introduces himself to the scene, is he's mocking Ivan for not exiting the bushes earlier, because Ivan was clearly caught. And he was delaying exiting the bushes, and the Weaver's entering into the visual scene that is occurring by being a smug little shit, being like, come on out these bushes, come on. Psst, psst, psst.
Yeah, I was just like thinking that maybe that could have been used kind of like the introduction as like both them and like kind of their personality, where you were saying like
Well,
him
that is
being,
what we said, is that we're
oh,
saying the Weaver should be coming first at the start of the chapter. The Weaver
Okay.
is, you describe the Weaver, you describe the setting. It's dark out. The Weaver's there. Maybe he's got his arms open, or maybe he's beckoning at the bushes with one hand. Come on, I'm waiting. And then Ivan strolls out with his face, fucking perspirating, and he's fucking nervous as hell. He's like, "Oh fuck, I've been caught. Ah shit." And then the sinister voice is like, "Oh, so glad for you to join us," because this is the third person that hasn't been introduced yet into the scene besides his voice being sinister. That is not Ivan or the Weaver, as far as I'm aware.
And
Gotcha, yeah.
another thing too, instead of softening his menacing tone with "I'm waiting," you could, I would say, imply like an intonation and keep it still like "I'm waiting," because usually non-standard like spelling and like prose. I mean, it depends on each person. Your mileage may vary, but unconventional spelling where you put like 3 A's for waiting, usually not always
Yeah.
the best. So
Yeah, I mean, you also can go with the classic, not tilde, but the little squiggly, whatever the fuck you're gonna call that in the narrative.
Tilda Snaky.
Tilde.
Italics.
No, this thing. Like.
yeah.
Oh yeah, that is the tilde.
That is the tilde.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, then what the fuck is
The
this?
squiggly things I use for.
Well, then what the fuck is the one I just posted?
I can't see it. I'm not in front of the computer. Is it the?
It's the thing.
one
It's
above the tilde?
it's the same thing.
Yeah,
on
it's the one
tilde.
above the tilde.
Yeah, it's
Back
an
tick?
open quote.
Like
it
here's
is a
like
single open quote.
No, a single
I'll give
open
you an
quote is this.
That's
I
back
am
tick,
aware,
it's
but
saying.
it is also another.
I got you guys.
Shove it
debating
up your
agreement
ass,
mechanics
sign.
now.
Anyway,
Google it.
not important.
Back tick and an apostrophe, I think is what there's people. are
Back
saying
tick,
online.
thank you.
So what I would just do here is like where it says the Weaver called out again, comma. I would say now instead of now softening his menacing tone, I would say his he intonated I'm waiting or something to that
Yeah,
effect.
something like that. Yeah.
Could, you go
Dialogue
ahead.
is always easier to show off your character's characteristics without saying they were smug. It's how you phrase the sentence of someone being smug.
Yeah.
Like,
I
oh,
mean, if you wanted
really?
to-
You don't need to say they were being smug about it. Oh, really, tilde. Everyone knows that's them being smug about it.
You know, it's
Yes.
like
Smug or
being
teasing.
smug while waiting, just like tapping their foot slightly impatiently.
Well,
like,
smug and teasing is effectively the same thing, just depends on the situation.
I'm waiting, or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, again, it really depends if they're trying to go for menacing, or alternatively, if the fucking sinister voice was the Weaver at the start. I mean, gotta make that a little bit clearer.
A little sensory detail thing you could do too, where there's the Stark shadow from his hood, which again, Stark shadow, unless you describe like moonlight or torchlight, it's hard to imagine the Stark shadow. So you just establish that detail. But then where it says, but he knew there was a smug grin, I would say create like a sound of like him, like he could hear like a bit of a chuckle or something. Like because if it's dark, you want to focus on the sound
A
dimension.
dark
'cause sight,
amusement in
I'm
his
just imagining a
voice.
void.
The smugness
Yeah.
in his tone.
Right.
Otherwise, the only person that you're gonna get visualizing this fic is C8, who can't visualize fics.
True. But I'm saying, like, you know, there's a dark amusement tinging his tones, something like that, if you really want to be prosy about it. But yeah, it definitely, like, I understand the scene you're trying to set here, and there's nothing wrong with the scene. It's just the order of events occurring in the scene as it's written to the reader is off, and some of the word choices are off. Let's see here. Let's see what else we got. He hesitated to step forward. That accursed Weaver caught him completely off guard. Again, if Weaver is, like, again, an important title, then you gotta capitalize it. Always gotta capitalize it.
Another thing too,
I see that pretty often.
Another thing too is like he hesitated to step forward. Period. That could just be like a comma or like a semicolon, because it makes a little staccato to have a period for such a short sentence.
Exactly. Yeah. Sometimes it's good, especially if you're trying to give to the reader a pacing break where either a lot of things are happening all at once, and so the character that is narrating to the audience what's going on is not able to take it all in. You know, I took a step forward, he pulled his gun, they did this, they did that, they did that, and it's kind of just like they're being overwhelmed. Short sentences are great for that. They're also pretty good if someone's mechanically observing something. But
or fight scenes too. That could be
that
good,
too
like
as
short
well.
sentences.
Yeah, fight scenes.
But in terms of this, where it's a highly tense scene, you
And
want
it's like
a
narrative
more
prose. You just want it to
river,
flow.
flowy prose. The pacing is kind of going along and bobbing like water, not more like
Absolutely.
machinery.
But otherwise, it's a good scene. Again, it's just tightening up the mechanics a little.
Yeah. Ivan could not see the Weaver's face. You kind of already said this when you said that his face was obscured by a stark shadow, so you don't really need to say it again. He hesitated to step forward. Okay, apprentice, so-called, and next to the Weaver was his so-called apprentice and Mark, a young boy as clueless as they come. He was painfully ordinary and unspectacular novice Weaver. So again, this kind of undermines the Weaver. I'm not sure if that was your intention here, but if you're trying to build the Weaver up as you tried, I'm only saying this because you opened up with this whole Weaver's Oath of Service, very serious, very, grim, punishable by death, treason, and blah, 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 misusing my powers, I'll get my fucking head chopped off. And then not like a couple paragraphs later, you're like, yeah, this guy is like a piece of shit, white trash. Also, by the way, he's a Weaver.
Quick question: was it the apprentice was the unspectacular, and then like
Yes.
the vizier guy?
This-
Okay.
So far in the scene, we have Ivan, the stalker, we have the smug Weaver, and the unspectacular novice apprentice.
Now, here's
Okay.
what I'll say. Like Sneaky said, if you're trying to undermine the mystique of the Weavers and you have a plan for that, then this is good. Otherwise, right, something you'll see in Star Wars is you will never see someone referred to as a mere Jedi Knight.
Yeah.
No,
even when a Jedi Knight,
Knight.
even when a Jedi Knight is getting clowned on by a Sith,
That's a big deal.
there's still a Jedi. There's still a certain level of wariness.
Well, not only
because-
that, if you go into the extended universe stuff, because Jedi Knight is like adulthood sort of thing, so it's like kind of like a mixed bag. There is moments
rank,
throughout the shows and the books where we can go kill the apprentice. He's just a kid, because it's not. The apprentice isn't vulnerable because he's the apprentice. The apprentice is vulnerable because he's a child.
Yeah.
Right.
But he's still a Jedi,
definitely.
and you get that also gets pointed out pretty often in the various forms of media that go into that as well. When they target the apprentice, some of the guys targeting the apprentice are like, it's a kid, but it's still a fucking Jedi.
Yeah.
So I
And,
think an
again,
opportunity is like you could invent a word here, like instead of novice weaver, and this would save you a word for your word budget. You can make a word like aspirant or something like that. So it's kind of
Sure,
like the version of
yeah,
passive
that-
at
yeah.
that point.
Aspirant's
or
classic.
Aspirant, English.
The English is hard.
Yeah, English
or
much
if
difficult.
if you really want to make them seem lesser, perspective, which aspirant and perspective are kind of the same, but
Jim.
aspirant is generally like they're
Well-
in and they're being evaluated. They have a good chance.
Whereas
Perspective is
perspective is they're
Right,
just
they're
okay.
being
You've got the
surveyed.
ability to. You
Yeah.
are still on watch.
Not only that, if you still want to keep Weaver or Novice Weaver as the usage here, another way of doing it is a young boy as clueless as they come. For a Novice Weaver, he was painfully ordinary and unspectacular.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there you go. That sounds better.
It's still implying that a Weaver should be have more of a presence, and yet somehow this guy doesn't.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Aspirin having bigger value, yeah, that as well. So yeah, I mean, it's again, it's all about which words you use to portray and the order you use to portray them. Saying they're painfully ordinary and unspectacular, and then telling everyone they're a novice weaver is undermining the weaver position. But saying that for a novice weaver, they are those things, you're actually strengthening the weaver position because you're saying that weavers aren't unspectacular. They aren't ordinary. They're something special.
I just say rephrase this a little bit, because even I generally, if I see an adverb, my instinct is there's probably a better way you could say this. Is another thing too.
Usually,
'Cause
it can be that way. Yeah.
Painfully, like you.
Also,
like,
what makes him painfully ordinary? Because then now you're bringing up other questions. So why is he painfully ordinary?
I would
What
just
part
say,
of it's
now,
painful?
Right.
Here's the thing.
Yeah,
if you
because I mean,
want
every
to,
weaver's gotta be young, so that's pretty
Yeah.
ordinary, right?
if you want to specifically denigrate the apprentice because you want the master looking down on him, or you want the audience underestimating him, or whatever,
Or
right?
you want to show Ivan underestimating him?
Or
right.
instead of painfully ordinary, you could say like awkward. Like that's a word.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
said the same thing in one word.
Awkward. Yeah.
I would say the otherwise, right? If you
Sheltered.
want to, right? Again, if you're looking to specifically
Donkey.
denigrate a child, you can
Yeah.
put him as while he was right. The apprentice was a weaver, but they somehow managed to be the definition of an ordinary weaver, right?
And that's really awkward.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
he
know.
said Weaver twice.
I'm just making this up off the top of my head. My point is, find a way to imply that even though the child is a weaver, he's somehow the most bland, boring, poster board, cardboard cutout version of it, right? However you
No,
wanna
because
do
that's
that.
still connecting him to it. I would say if you don't want to undermine the Weaver status, saying that they are, in spite of being a Weaver, they are blank, 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 is probably the best phrasing you can use.
Yeah.
Because it really depends on how Ivan views the Weavers, because this is, as far as we've seen so far, a third-person narrative, but it is over the shoulder. And so we're kind of getting Ivan's thoughts on the situation, not the truth. So if this is supposed to be a situation where he holds the Weavers in high regard, and this guy is somehow like really bland and unspectacular, and it's kind of weird how he's a Weaver, that should be reflected in how it's structured to the audience. If the Weavers are something special and Ivan holds them to be special, then it should be despite being a Weaver. If Weavers are special, but Ivan doesn't really view them as special and kind of is just looking down on the guy, then a situation where you phrase it in your way of, you know, he is the most bland cardboard version of a Weaver possible, where he's acknowledging that Weavers are supposed to be cool. He personally doesn't view them as cool as, everyone might think. And somehow this guy makes it even more lame.
Yeah. Just like 100 other Weaver apprentices, aspirants, hopefuls, whatever you want to call them, he was blank and blank and blank.
Well, here's how I'd massage this sentence is like instead of having Weaver mentioned at the end of the sentence, be like a young Weaver instead of boy.
Yeah.
Because right there you kind of already easier word budget. Because I'm always trying to think of how can I say more with less words. So it's like
Yes.
a young Weaver, as clueless as they come. He was, you could
Well, I
say
mean,
he was
it's also
awkward.
important that you phrase everything from the perspective you're writing, because if you're writing third person omniscient, then word budget is an important bit. But if you're if you're writing like third person over the shoulder, or especially first person, people don't think overly in the most efficient word construction manner. They think in like, oh, okay, Weaver. Okay, Weavers are supposed to be cool. Okay, this guy isn't cool. He isn't cool despite being a Weaver. The Weavers are supposed to be cool and he isn't. That's how people kind of think, or they could think in some other really weird way, however you want them to think, but they don't think in the omni-perspective narrative.
I mean,
that
I understand you can have sentences run on longer, but it's a general rule of thumb. If you can say like more with less, it's just a good habit to just kind of have.
Oh yeah,
That's
I
all
mean,
I'm
it's
advocating.
certainly a good habit. Like, always cut down on the prose if possible, but
Trim the fat.
be sure to not cut down on the prose in a way that makes every dialogue line sound like it's coming from the same person, that makes every thought sound like it's coming from the same person.
Which, to be fair, they did a good job of that, right? Characters are at least different, right? Because we're not just
They're trying.
right?
Yeah, they're trying.
Characters are elite, right? It's not like some fan fictions we've read where we're like, wait, who's talking now, right? I know when we're switching from Ivan to the Weaver to the blah 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 blah.
Yeah, I mean, this is better. Like when I was thinking fan fiction, I thought it was gonna be like Naruto fighting a Gundam or something. This is cool.
I mean, that's the
no,
usual
I mean we
floppy
usually do
cover.
cover that, and you know if we go on longer than normal, which we probably will in this scenario, I mean we'll read a couple more pages of this. We're not going to read the whole fucking sample. The whole sample's like 17 pages long.
Yeah.
Or something. 23.
I'd say because I'll probably have to hop off in like 30 minutes because I just have to go do other
go.
life things. But if we could read a couple pages, because usually when I am at like writer critiques, you know, we at least kind of get through a big chunk of it and then kind of go back and do the edits, you know. I don't know how you guys do it, but
Well, we do stream of consciousness, as I'm sure you've seen,
okay.
because
Yeah.
you know half of us are drinking here, so we're probably not going to remember the commentary that we want to give if we don't do it immediately.
Fair enough. The alcohol diva told me now.
Yeah, exactly, pretty much.
Yeah.
Some of us remain sober so that we can mute people who get a little too spicy.
See, but that's
Some of us
content,
remain
dude.
sober so
Unmute
we
them,
can-
bump the volume up. Make
Exactly.
No.
Based.
No. There's drunk content, and there's that's gonna get us banned again.
Mm.
Listen, you told me I can't do drunk Alex Jones content on the internet.
Yes.
I'll have you know I'm a patriot.
Here we go. From what Ivan saw of the brunette teen. Now, again, you're kind of mixing perspectives here now, because now it's like Ivan is telling us in the third person over the shoulder what he experienced in the past from the Omni perspective. You want to sort yourself out here. Even
is the
better.
brunette teen? Who's the brunette teen? Just
the
so I
boy.
recombobulate.
The boy.
The boy. Okay.
Yeah. So
it sounds like a different person almost.
You want to really set the scene here. This sort of information is how you open. You know, Ivan's behind a bush. He's following the brunette teen. He's been following him for weeks now. Somehow, this novice weaver was the most ordinary man he's ever come across. And tonight was the night he was gonna do whatever the fuck he was gonna do to him. And then he hears, "I'm waiting, you can come out now," glances to the right, and sees his master looking directly at him. You know, motioning for him to climb from the bushes. Sweat runs down his face as he's been exposed and caught. That's how you deliver that sort of information. You don't be like, all right, so he's exposed and caught, and he's like kind of, like, we pressed pause on the cutscene, and he's like, all right, so here is the guy that caught me, and this is what he is like, and this is what he looks like, and here is the guy that I've been following this whole time, and this is what he does, and what he looks like, and what his position in the government is. And then you hit unpause cutscene, and then it continues. So, it's.
Let's not do that.
I'd say like keep the whole young boy thing, because like I mean, at least for me, unless them being brunette like is important, a lot of that it's just not really adding anything to the narrative. And I'd say where it says every praise that the Weaver gave to the boy seemed to be blowing smoke up his rear, just have the Vizier Weaver guy give some kind of like glib compliment, like you're way sneakier than that person, you know, something that like it's kind of expository dialogue, but it'd be better.
Like you know, the Master Weaver, you know, swaggers through. He's like, "Oh, well done, apprentice. You unassumingly led him directly to revealing himself." Like,
right. There's a bit of a character building opportunity right there. So instead, because you're telling us what the characters should be saying or doing right now, is what I think.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Ivan watched as the Weaver slid a bottle of suspicious liquid out of the boy's hand. He remained frozen in place, wide-eyed and confused. The kid was probably picked for his naivete, manipulative scum. I'm not really sure what you're trying to communicate with us there.
Also slide. You probably meant slid. So that's just a little typo right there. Also, instead of I'm recombobulating this. I take back what I said. Let's see. I even watched the Weaver slide a bottle of suspicious. Oh, I know what I was going to try to say is just have him say he took a bottle of suspicious liquid out of the boy's hand, or not even say suspicious. You could describe it to us. Like, is it like a amber colored liquid? Is like a black ichor? You know, like that's a great
Or
opportunity to tell us why.
alternatively,
Is it in the
because
black bottle with the skull on it?
yeah,
Right.
right. Or
yeah,
alternatively,
it's
you know,
green
bottle.
is this the reason why Ivan was following the guy? Was he aiming for this bottle of liquid in the boy's hand? And if that was, it would be more like Ivan, or no, what do you mean? You don't even have to say Ivan watched. Just be like, the Weaver swaggered up and slid my target out of the boy's hand. You know, showing that the boy wasn't the target. Whatever the boy was carrying was the target. And that's why he's been stalking him this whole time, because he wanted to get his hands on whatever that was. You know, like, again, phrasing. Lots of phrasing.
And then for he remained frozen in place, was it? I'm assuming the boy remained frozen
The
in
boy
place. 'Cause-
probably remained frozen in place, yeah.
Okay, because there's a bit of ambiguity, like because
Yeah.
I was kind of a Schrodinger's cat if it's either Ivan or the boy. But yeah, so I think it's yeah. So maybe just say the boy remained frozen in place. Why did I confuse? And then the
Somebody
kid was
did.
probably, and then the kid was probably picked for his naivety. I'm assuming that's like a thought from Ivan. Should that be italicized?
Well, I mean, so here's the thing, right? You can make thoughts appear in the narrative, but again, they usually comes
okay.
with first person. Third person
Right,
over the shoulder
I'm a
can
first
also
person
manage
stance,
it.
so yeah.
Yeah. Third person over the shoulders is a little bit interesting because you can do unitalicized thoughts, but you need to do a really good job of separating the narrative from the thoughts. So it's usually just easier just to slap the italicization single quote marks in.
And
It's
I
so
would
thought.
say you could or maybe even just say like Ivan intuited the kid was probably picked for his naivety, you know, and then like comma or semicolon manipulative scum. You could do
Ivan scoffed, Ivan rolled his eyes. Just something to show that this is a separation from the narrative is enough to not require italicization. But again, if you don't want to do it and you're trying to be word economic because you know it's like a really fast-paced scene or something, italicization is always just a solid separation. You know, everyone's done it.
Yeah.
It's in everything.
But also be careful because kind of like adverbs, I kind of treat italics like adverbs. You know, you
True.
also have a budget for that too.
Yeah. Yeah, some people really like italics. Good thing we don't have any authors that use lots of italics in this chat with us today. There could be authors using italics in this chat.
Left and right, confused,
I hate authors
smiling.
that use too much italics in their chat.
I wonder who you're talking about.
Who could it be?
It is a mystery.
He could be any one of us. He could be Sign. He could be Gray. It could be me.
It could be all three of us.
It's all three.
I use it tactically.
No, you do not.
No.
You spam them almost as much as Gray does.
I've gotten a
no.
lot better.
I know.
And that's
That
sad
unfortunately
to say.
doesn't say much.
No, it does say a lot. No, from
I was
his first
so
chapter
bad.
of Undying Scarab. No, Gray is massively improved.
I was so much worse.
Yeah.
The boy looked up at his master with large brow line glasses. Is that a fucking thing? The fuck is a
sorry?
brow line glass?
Yeah, I'm not sure what that means.
I guess it's like the glasses are so
Oh,
big
okay.
they like touch his brow, like towards that like big round, almost like Harry Potter.
Yeah,
glasses
they're
or
like
something.
basically glasses that like the thick part of the frame covers your eyebrows.
Yeah.
To everyone not in the stream, that's what it looks like.
Oh.
Oh, he looks like Malcolm X. Interesting.
I mean, that is what I believe that is Malcolm X
Oh, those
being
that is
used. Yeah.
Malcolm X's
Yeah.
glasses.
So I mean, that's
damn,
fine.
This is a 1960s wizard.
Mr. Sable, you knew he was here the entire time? Of course, he was skulking around here for a few weeks.
I would
again,
say
Uh-oh.
So this is
I'd
actually
say-
running counter to what you said earlier in the narrative, where Ivan says that he blows smoke up the apprentice's ass. He's not really answering in the way you've characterized him so far, and also at the same time, if he's been blowing smoke up the apprentice's ass, why would he just be like, "Oh yeah, you're a fucking retard. He's been around here for a few weeks." Like, it's kind of like a really abrupt departure from your characterization. So if that's intentional and you want to show that Ivan's wrong and an unreliable narrator, great. If that's not intentional, fix that.
Yeah.
Ivan grimaced and pondered when he slipped up. He thought he was quiet enough. Okay, again, he thought he was quiet enough. Ivan, it doesn't matter. You were literally just told you were made weeks ago.
Yeah.
Yep.
After adjusting the cuffs of his black pinstripe suit, who the fuck stalks someone in a forest in a pinstripe suit?
This douche nozzle.
It's an Italian mobster wizard.
Yeah, apparently.
Yeah, okay. Makes sense.
Didn't know Agent 47
You're
was
about
in
to
this
swim
story.
with the fishes. And by fishes, I mean tree roots. The trees are gonna eat you.
I used a cloaking field. What you talking about?
I'll have you
and
know,
now here's the thing.
this
If they have
cloaking
some-
field was given to me by my father.
No, but here's the thing now. If they have some kind of magical technology
Stealth.
or stealth magic or whatever,
Sure.
then you absolutely can have them doing that.
Okay,
Right?
what
Well,
time
you can
period is
abs-
this though? Like,
Yeah, that's
I-
what to say.
yes,
It's like we
yes.
got brow
Time
line
period-
glasses
okay,
and
yes.
pinstripe
'Cause
suits.
now-
Time period is very
'cause I
dependent, but my
hear-
point is, if they're doing something like that and they have some kind of magical or technological ability that allows them to be unnoticed while they do those things, then sure, they can go around.
No,
in a
no, I'm
pinstripe
not
suit.
saying from a stealth aspect, Atin. I'm saying more from a practical aspect
Who
of
walks in the woods in a
who
fucking
puts on a
pinstripe suit?
pinstripe suit to go follow someone in the woods. Like if you're
But
in
here's
the
the
I'll
thing.
tell
woods,
you,
If you-
I'll
no,
tell
no,
you,
here's the thing.
sneaky baby
An
brunette
asshole.
Malcolm X with
True.
magical powers. That's,
Yep.
But
you know?
that's just
Nailed it.
my point. An asshole does that. If you
I mean,
want,
you know
to
what? That's a fair
estab-
point. Yeah.
Like that's my point. If you're trying to establish, right, Roman Torchwick wore suits
You know what?
to rob dust stores. If you're
No,
trying
that's
to
just
establish a
classy. Hold
specific-
up. That's just classy.
That is classy.
But my point is, if you're trying to establish specific things for characters, what they're wearing and the setting in which they're wearing it can be very important. If you're trying to establish that this guy is either an asshole or some level of power or lack of concern, yes, of course, I'm always wearing a suit.
Alt
because
history
I don't need to wear-
1920s.
Okay, but
Okay.
here's the thing. So
Hey, I'm
timeline-wise,
weaving here.
timeline-wise that works. Yeah, Hey, I'm waving here, right? But timeline-wise that works. But if this person is so powerful or otherwise unconcerned with what's going on around them that they just were following this person and they were wearing a suit at the time, and that's the
Yeah.
kind
Yeah,
of character
okay.
you're trying to establish, then it's fine. But you have to have an intentionality behind why is he wearing a pinstripe suit in the woods? Is it because he's an asshole? Is it because he's so above the person that he's following he didn't need to bother changing?
Yeah, yeah.
That kind
I'm
of stuff.
a little agnostic as far as like if the pinstripe suit means he's like an asshole. Like I just assume it's like maybe kind of a formal thing. Like it's like modern wizard ropes, basically. Like that's kind of all I'm recalibrating. Like
right,
okay, we're
but-
like a 1900s time period.
But yeah, okay, no, I understand where you're coming from with that, and I can sort of agree with it. But at the same time, it's like a pinstripe suit is a little bit different than a burlap sack that you're wearing. You know, it's if you're wearing very fancy clothes to go stalk someone in the forest, that either means you comport yourself with some kind of creed or class, Like it's like doesn't matter where I am, I have to be representing my faction with class and dignity and whatever. I can
Or
see
even
them
just
wearing
their
the
personal
suit.
brand.
Yeah, or
It's
their
like maybe
personal
like a
creed,
modern
yeah.
like tabard kind of thing, you know?
Yeah, I
But
always
it's weird
have
'cause
to
then they're like sweating.
represent. Yeah, well, yeah, yeah. I always got to represent myself in a certain way. I'm always going to dress this way no matter what
I
to
gotta look my best.
present myself a certain manner. Or maybe like I said, maybe they are just an asshole and they're like, fuck this guy. I'm just gonna, casually walk behind him in my pinstripe suit through the forest. I don't even have any magic that prevents it from getting dirty
Look,
or silencing me. Fuck this dude.
joke but not joke. If he has a Thompson submachine gun shoot magic missiles, that would be pretty goated. Just saying.
Magic bullets.
Why don't I give you a taste of my rat-a-tat-tat?
You asked me to come to the ziggurat to do a favor on my daughter's birthday.
Let me play a melody on the old piano here.
You can casually keep the clothing in your top shop via magic or other means. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, if he's got magic that keeps his clothes unnaturally clean, that is one thing. If he has a creed saying that, he's always got to present his best, that's another thing. Or if he's literally just an egotistical asshole who decided this guy was so far below him, this dude's so ordinary, he's so stupid, he's just such a fucking easy mark that I don't even need to try and prep for this shit. He is just so fucking dumb.
Let me add in. I think we just need more sensory details to establish because I'm just not sure what the setting is. If it's like kind of a steampunky like time period. Some ways like because there's a lot of opportunities to describe the surroundings, even with like the vizier guy that has robes, which immediately I thought like medieval because tropes like usually robes is either space fantasy or fantasy. Put something that would telegraph it's like steampunk. Like there's a gas lamp behind the character. Like even
Or
that.
even you can have the room was thrown into shadow from the light coming in through the open window.
The flickering gas lamp.
You could see this. You could see the steam coming from the slave foundries or whatever.
Yeah,
like,
I will definitely
Also-
second the absolute need for more visual description going on here because it's taking us 9 paragraphs to find out that they're in the middle of a forest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also,
Yeah, and a
give
forest.
that man a freaking hat.
Yeah. Because
if you
well,
got him in the suit, you gotta give
He's
him
a
a hat.
gangster. He's got a hat. Yeah.
I mean,
have
it's
the
not that the outfit's immersion breaking. There's a lot of potential.
we're not saying the outfit's
in a steampunk
immersion.
setting. We just want you to paint the scene more, like because we're curious what's going on. Because I just feel like they're in a weird cloistered ziggurat where there's trees, but there's also like masonry walls right now because there's just not enough details.
We're getting a really
on this-
mixed message here. We got some guys wearing robes. We got guys with the brow line eyeglasses. We got dudes wearing pinstripe suits coming out of bushes. We're apparently in the Golden Pine Forest, but again, like I said, it took us 9 paragraphs to get there. And so this is actually a major thing when it comes to setting the narrative, is you got to set the narrative before the reader does it for you. Because when the reader starts setting the narrative, and then you're like, oh yeah, by the way, they're in a forest, they're like, that's stupid, why are they in a forest? Why are they doing this? Why are they doing that?
And let me add to that too. It's an interesting scene. We just need a couple more details established earlier on, because like you can have robes and a pinstripe suit, because you could have like kind of a skull and bones society style steampunk like introduction, where it's like a guy wears robes because this is an initiation, going back to that basic training.
Well, not
type
only
thing
that,
for the
I mean,
Weavers.
you could also use the robes versus pinstripe suit to show that the Weavers are an old institution that's governmentalized at this point, and they're kind of stagnant. And then the new guy is wearing a pinstripe suit. It's time to get with the times, old timer. Bang.
Yeah.
Right.
You know.
Or if you,
100%.
even if you want to present it as simply a a traditionalist versus a modern
Times change.
dichotomy, right? This
Yeah,
this
like-
is the
Yeah,
the
times are
fresh
changing,
young
old
new
man.
weaver who's hip and with the
Yeah.
times, and this is the
Right.
old weaver who's been there for, I'm just making up a number, we don't know how long they live, right? He's been a weaver
100
for
years.
200 years.
Yeah.
Like LeMay, it's obvious you've got the scene in your mind, but you haven't written it in a way to bring it to the reader's mind.
Right,
And
exactly.
here's the thing, again, please, we right, we're picking this apart, but that's because that's what you asked us to do. This is this is an acceptable scene
Yes.
that needs fine tuning, right?
Yeah,
Right.
your grammar's
It's-
fine, your scene's fine, what you have happening in the scene is fine. It's just the pacing needs to be fixed. Where the events in the scene are occurring needs to be reorganized. The words you're using to describe them in the not so much as the actual sense, but in the descriptive sense, needs to be a little bit reorganized there. Like it's this very shadowy shadow. It's like maybe shadow just once,
Yeah.
So it's the pinstripe suit's fine. We're not saying it's bad.
Yeah,
We're just saying when you make a character wear a pinstripe suit, when you make a character don a fedora or have a jaunty feather in their cap, don't just think about the visuals of, oh, the character would look cool like this. Incorporate that into the character's personality. Like we were saying earlier with having a creed, or they're part of a group that has a creed, or they're part of the new weavers who are representing a change in the system versus the old weavers who still wear robes. It's all about how much detail and layers you can pack on into a single scene, into a single visual description. Because again, you are in a book. You are not in a movie. You do not have the real estate to just instantly paint a huge scene, have people take it in and internalize it, and then being able to carry on with your dialogue. You have to fight both the scene setting and the dialogue into the same space.
Yeah.
And related to that, with what Sneaky's talking about, you had asked on Discord if you need to change the outfit if it's immersion breaking. Definitely don't. Like because I at first thought it was like fantasy, so I was like, okay, cool, like maybe Avatar, or maybe George Martin, whatever. But then I saw a pinstripe suit, and I was like, wait, so this is like kind of steampunky. I was actually like more interested. I just didn't realize that was the setting we were in until a page deep. And so just keep in mind there are going to be tropes and like expectations a reader's going to have unless you prove otherwise. There's a really fun wiki. I wouldn't say it's an authoritative source, but it's just fun to doom scroll through, called like tvtropes.org. I'm sure a lot of you folks have heard of this. But if you ever just want to see tropes that are circulating that people will think about, just go through that website. Type in steampunk, diesel punk, high fantasy, low fantasy. It'll give you the works.
True. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yep.
it's not like it's not a bad fic. You can definitely get this published with more polish. And the thing is, I could definitely see, like, the way you've written this, I could definitely see it easily possibly becoming a movie if you make it big as well.
Yeah. I mean, there is the classic.
Because you've got a lot of potential scenes in there if this is made into a movie. So if you do make it big, this could definitely like make it big.
Yeah, I mean,
it's an interesting concept. Yeah, I mean, it's like the things I'm looking for right now is just a more distinct like narrator voice. Like, is it going to be kind of a sarcastic, witty, like a Dresden Files? Is it going to be more like darkish fairy tale, like for young adults, like a Harry Potter? Is it going to be like a tragic fantasy, like a George Martin?
I think that's the other thing that's going on right now is the narration is currently mixing between omnipotent and third person over the shoulder, and it's doable, but the problem is that you're basically wasting space writing with the third omniscient point of view, because you have narrative to give details to the audience on, I'm assuming Ivan's the main character, on Ivan's personality, by how he narrates everything going on. And you do include bits and pieces here and there into the narrative, and the audience is supposed to understand sort of Ivan's opinions on things, but we're not really getting a good opinion on Ivan himself. If that makes sense to everyone else. Like, right now, we're not really being shown how Ivan is framing everything. We are being shown how Ivan thinks of other people. And then you're using the omniscient perspective to frame things, to show the events. So don't waste the valuable space that you have there with using third omniscient to describe narrative. Put it all from Ivan's perspective if Ivan is the main character. And I don't mean
Even if
first
that-
person.
Yeah.
Just
Even if that means missing shit out for the readers to read because Ivan didn't take notice of that because that's not in his like personality. That shows up later.
right, exactly. You know, fucking, the Weaver makes a big sweep of his arm. He doesn't realize the Weaver's casting until, fucking spell hits him. That sort of shit is always good because then you can have a character arc moment where the character goes, oh shit, I'm gotta be more attentive. And then you can have in the future, you can sort of start to incorporate a more omniscient awareness of the events going on around the main character, because the audience is getting into the position of Ivan growing more aware of everything around him, even if it's not really realistic, air quotes, because, I mean, it is. Like, people really massively underestimate how much we see that we don't acknowledge, but we actually do see.
Yeah.
And
there's
if you
also
tell
a reason
people...
why it says learning from your mistakes is a thing, because you learn massively from things that don't go well for you.
That too. And so the interesting thing is, when it comes to narrative, is that you can lure the reader into nodding along to anything if you give yourself enough charge time. You can power level Goku to God tier if you give him enough steps to get there.
Yeah.
And the readers will go, duh, obviously Goku can make it there. If you see this step, this step, this step, and this step, he clearly has a pattern of enhancing his power level when he meets this certain criteria. So obviously his power level will be able to enhance this way. And that's the best moment.
Zenkai boost, which is like just that. It is just that. He's near death. Oh, he's going to get stronger because of that.
Right. And when you have the readers now on your side fighting to justify whatever occurred in the narrative, that is when you have reached the point where you have fully convinced the readers of whatever is going on in your story.
Yeah.
Now, people like Sign, because he's not here right now, so I get to make extra fun of him. People like Sign like to really slam on the gas and accelerate the power level. And he's getting a lot better, but he's had a lot of trouble with realizing that people need to see in the narrative a character. You have to tell the audience, this character wakes up and trains every day. And then you can't just tell the audience that they train every day. You have to remind the audience occasionally that they are training every day by having a scene where they train and make some sort of breakthrough or advancement in their ability. And then you have to show that advancement off. You can't just tell the audience they made an advancement. You then need to have a combat scene or some other event occur where they get to show off their advancement in understanding of whether it's martial or whatever. their magics or whatever it is, they get to show off that advancement because now the audience has incorporated that advancement into their mind. So next time when you have them fight the next big monster of the day, the villain of the day, and they, do super ultra grand fireball, kablam! And the villain gets defeated, the audience goes, oh yeah, I mean, obviously he was made a great stride in his fire magic, increasing its power by 300%. Of course that guy was defeated.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Sign used to be, I defeated one henchman, and then 2-3 chapters later, he's effortlessly beating a special forces entire squad.
When he did say at one point that he trained every day and put a lot of effort in everything, and then never showed it again.
People were like,
told anyone about it. And so, it's yes, technically speaking, you did tell the audience that this was occurring, but you didn't show the audience it was occurring, so most of the audience would be like, that's a power spike, that's weird, he wasn't that powerful in the last scene. You're just a power fantasy wanker.
Okay, to delineate a little bit,
Sure.
when you're talking about high power levels in the pros, what are you referencing? Is it just the character is implied to be too strong or too weak in some way? I'm trying to just
No, so
recombobulate this.
they can barely beat one person, and then in like the next scene they're taking an entire squad of people effortlessly. They don't show their growth basically at all.
Yeah, but I was looking because we were talking about the pinstripe suit thing, and I'm trying to find.
No, so I was using
no.
examples from another story.
Gotcha.
So Signreal is an author in the chat, and he has written some other fan fiction that I've helped mentor him through, I guess.
Yeah, I think you talked to me about it. I remember that.
And he's had some power escalation issues where he feels that because he mentioned one point in time that the person trains, that obviously that means they're training constantly, and then the audience gets confused why he's suddenly 300% stronger than he was in the last combat scene.
I will add to that, especially because I like to write cyberpunk. It is so tempting, just page one, to just have mech suits. I'm just like, come on, man, just once. Can I do it?
Here's the thing. If you want to give the mech suits to the cops or to the
no, you don't even know. You don't even need to do that. So here's the crazy thing. There is this little known, very unpopular game called, you might have heard of it, however. It's called Metroid. Famous for having the first level where you have all of the power-ups, and then a mysterious event happens, ripping all of those power-ups away from you. So you get the juicy taste of being able to shoot missiles and freeze bolts and charge blasts and turn into a ball and toss bombs at people. But then you have all of it taken away from you, so you have how far you have to climb to regain that power you once had. And you can absolutely do that with mech suits as well. As scene one, you're fucking running through a bunch of people with a mech suit, blowing apart special forces or whatever. And then, scene two, I can't believe this inevitable betrayal. And then they get hacked or something, and all their shit's taken from them, and now they have to go on a quest of vengeance.
No, you're right. I mean, and that's the thing. Like a well done prologue, it should not be like a world building like info dump. In fact, that'll alienate 99% of readers. It should be a promise to the reader, like, hey, if you get through the Act 1, this is the crazy shit in Act 2. It's a little like supermarket sample of
effectively.
that.
Listen, you're going to spend the next 100 pages reading about a dude with an assault rifle killing gangsters to make ends meet. But he used to have a Gundam.
Right. And I joke because like my story that I've sent to Sneaky ad nauseum, it's about a type of like special, like kind of corporate like agent that has like a brain computer interface chip, and it's showing like a slice of life for the character before he nearly gets killed and has like amnesia. And that's like the chapter 1 is. And so I'd love to try to squeeze in a mech suit, but it's more of a noir story structure, not a military drama, So you guys stay within genre. I mean, there's experimental writing, but
stay in your lane.
Right.
Yeah, no,
But yeah.
certainly, and I mean, you do a good job. And so to pull it back again to LeMay's stories before we have to cut out for you, you know, LeMay
I
does
actually have a little bit more time, so that's good.
All right, cool. Well, LeMay does a decent job. You know, the sun sunk down into the horizons a few hours ago, covering the ochre leaves of the trees with all-encompassing darkness. Like I see what you're trying to do. Not the words I would use, however.
Yeah, like again, word budget. Instead of the sun sunk down to the horizon a few hours ago, you could just say like the sky was blood orange. It's dusk time or something like that. 'Cause
Yeah.
I feel like it's a little bit more of an evocative
Dusk
scene.
bled
I
the
get,
sky orange, reflecting off the ochre leaves. You
right.
know,
And because you're
shading the
putting in more
glade in
sensory
darkness.
details, you're saying more with less. You know, so there's a great scene here. It just needs a little bit of massaging, I think.
Yeah, pretty much. The boy shrinked behind Sable. Ugh. He was stalking us for that long. Yes, I simply did not say anything because he never bothered us, and I assumed that he was a little skittish. That's where's the smug asshole from earlier?
Yeah.
Sable capped the bottle with his thumb. Was the bottle open? What slide frozen? No. Okay, the bottle was apparently opened at some point that was not mentioned in the narrative. And Ivan did not mention that this was not mentioned previously in the narrative, so apparently Ivan noticed the bottle being capped, but didn't notice the bottle was open in the first place, and also decided to make no mention that the bottle was open in the first place.
Yeah, they haven't interacted with the bottle, so just you can just include like if it's a little like alcohol container, like he sips from it, just something to give a bit of mechanics. But if it's not important that the bottle is open, you don't need to mention any of that.
Yeah, if it's not important that the bottle's open, then it's not important that the bottle's closed.
Yeah.
It's like classic Chekhov's gun. If there's a gun on the mantle, you need to shoot it. Like, why is this bottle here? Like, I'm hoping it's like a poison bottle or it's like a magic potion. You know, just you can do something fun with it.
Yeah. I'm so glad you could finally join us. I mean, again, it's really awkward of like, oh yeah, I've known you were here the whole time. I just never approached you because I thought you were a cowardly bitch.
Yeah, I will say, like, I understand what you're trying to convey, but it is. I mentioned expository dialogue a decent bit earlier. This is much further into the. I forget what it's called, but like the "I'm made Nancy" like dialogue, where it's
Yeah,
like, "Hello,
yeah.
here's my profession, here's my role in the plot." Like you can massage this a little bit.
Yeah, and like I said, literally having him be, instead of, oh, I thought he was a little skittish, teehee, it just have him be like fucking again. If he's supposed to be this swaggering weaver who knows he's, you know, a level 15 wizard and you ain't got shit on him, then him being like, yeah, I knew he was here the whole time, but he's armless. I was waiting for him to approach us, but he's too much of a cowardly bitch to do so. You know, if you are going to portray him as this, like, smug asshole, keep with the smug asshole routine. Or if he's now censoring himself for his apprentice, make Ivan mention that. You know, oh, he basically switched personalities now that his apprentice is paying attention. You know, something, right? But if he's supposed to be a smug asshole, keep him as a smug asshole. Keep him cocky. Keep him, you know, denigrating Ivan. You know, just keep it rolling. I understand you're trying to get the plot and you're trying to explain to the audience what's going on, but you have to do that in a way that is inherent to the characters involved, and that's not happening right now. I cut a lot from the first draft. No problem at all. Yeah, it is what it is. That's why you have drafts. I will say, Max made this comment. Sorry, yeah, hold on. Max made this comment earlier, and I'm going to second it now. If you removed a lot from the first draft, and this is what the second draft is, it sounds like the people you initially gave the story to read have attention issues. and you probably shouldn't ask them to keep reading the story.
That is true. There is what I would call are unreliable critique partners, where they're just kind of like whatever, fuck it, is like their perspective, and they'll give you bad information. Like I'll even share a famous writer who it hurt me in my development as a writer. Is I read Stephen King's book on writing, and he says in no uncertain terms.
Yeah, God.
He says in no uncertain terms, don't have an outline. Just fucking from the seat of your pants, just do it.
I hate Stephen King so much for so many reasons.
10 years down the line from that advice, I realized what he had that I didn't is cocaine. That's why he didn't need an outline.
He didn't need an outline because he was doing so many lines of coke, you could probably fucking see that shit on his goddamn eyes.
Yeah, so
it's great that, like, for example, you brought it here, because like I would consider this jolly band of lads more credible than probably a lot of folks, you know.
Well, I mean, it's not just that. It's why when, especially, you know, you can definitely second this, Aeon. You know, whenever I give critique, I give an extensive reason why, and I break down why I think it's a valid critique. You know, this part felt wish-washy because this word order implies these things, and are you trying to do this intentionally? Was this the message you were trying to send? Because this is the message it's actually sending to me right now. And I basically give a whole fucking, you know, philosophical rant on everything that is done. And I do that specifically because I want to both A, understand where the author's coming from when they respond to me, but B, I want the author to understand why I felt the way I did when reading their stuff.
And to second that, Sneaky, so like I take creative writing classes like full time, and in the critique process and like an academic setting, to basically a scientific level, it's explained why there's XYZ. That's why even for like this critique, that's why I joined in for this you know, like podcast kind of setting is, or whatever this critique session is, it's me getting more used to that process, because there's terminology. That's why like like I mentioned Chekhov's gun or something like that. They're conventions. And something before I forget it to share with LeMay, like I heard the other day, because I was actually at an in-person critique session. It was a published author. He's published like 4 fantasy books. He reassured to me, he was like, the first draft is you writing the story to yourself. The second draft is you writing for other people to critique. And the third draft is you trying to figure out if it's time to show it to an editor, you know? So don't beat yourself up over any of this, you know? That's part of the process.
And honestly, writing is an eternal refinement process. You can literally refine a story forever. There's always something you could have done better somewhere, some way. And it's usually only, like, if you write chapter 1, you can refine the shit out of it, and there does reach a point where you're not really able to do much better on it. But then when you write chapter 2, now there's more problems with chapter 1, because now there is more opportunities to tie things in from chapter 1 into chapter 2. So now you have to restructure chapter 1 again, because there's better ways of flow, because you've added more content to the entire thing. Optimization isn't a modulistic existence. Optimization is the entire thing in one go. You can't fix perfectly each little part. You have to get the whole thing out, refine the whole thing, refine the whole thing, refine the whole thing. Because if you try and do it each little chunk at a time, you're eventually going to realize, oh shit, now that I'm on chapter 30, I should have mentioned this 6 chapters ago.
Yeah. Another piece of advice I'll give, when you do finish a chapter, go through it and read it out loud. Don't just read it silently or in your head.
Yeah.
Always
read it out loud.
Because, like, some things when you read it yourself, even on this stream, I'll go through it and it's like, oh yeah, I just skipped over that because it kind of skimmed it. But then Sneaky reads out loud and I was like, oh fuck, that was in there. What the hell?
Yeah, there is some wild shit you will never catch unless you read something out loud, because your brain will just be like, oh, yeah, we already know what he looks like. It's fine. We don't mention that here. Oh, we don't need to say those words here. Or, sunny day, Sunday. That's fine. And then you actually read it out loud and you're just like, what the fuck? No, that doesn't make any sense at all. And again, it's not a 100% guarantee foolproof method. It doesn't always guarantee you the best result every single time. Some shit is just going to be a little bit awkward saying out loud. And that's just the way it is. But it's the best way to write it. And part of becoming a writer is learning to tell the difference between the recommendations Grammarly is giving you, what it sounds like when you say it out loud, and what you actually need to impart upon the readers.
Sneaky objection. I just want to put everything on Novel AI and just click next.
True.
Is that okay?
True.
I don't know if you guys have used that tool, but Sneaky showed me it. It's like a novel writer
cruel
tool.
tries.
I like it for like if I'm stuck. Because basically, if you guys haven't used it, it's like a Chat GPT style LLM where it's specialized for novel writing, and you don't get charged tokens as long as you pay a monthly subscription. And it's streamlined where you can just click next and it'll come up with stuff based on how you massage the prompts. And I'll use it for like if I'm stuck. It can sometimes surprise me with the scene it comes up with, but sometimes it'll randomly be like, and then they started fucking, and I'm like, wait, what? Like we're having like a tense showdown, and like the villain and the main character are just throwing it back. I'm like, okay, all right, Novel AI, that's cool.
Yeah, it's unfortunate is that again with these large language models, because they aren't thinking creations, they are just the world's best Reddit, effectively. You can't always predict what you're going to get out of it. Sometimes the AI is going to tell you to go eat a piece of toast with buttered,
uranium.
uranium on it.
Crazy.
Yeah, it's just like, It's just fucking damn it.
And I mentioned Novel AI as a joke because you'd mentioned Grammarly, and something that is really important as a writer is, there are all these digital tools, but you do just need to put the time in and write, and just accept you're gonna screw it up the first, second, maybe even the 100th time.
Well, I mean, the other thing is, the reason why I mentioned Grammarly is because this is actually a thing that Grammarly had an issue with. Is a while back, then I say a while back, I actually mean like 5 or so years ago now. A while back, Grammarly is a majority user-based community approach spell checker. So it would adapt based on how a majority of the community wrote and spelled things. And this was to keep it more up to date than, say, Microsoft Word, where each dictionary entry has to be entered by hand by someone who's 92 years old and has never heard of, gooning or something, right? And it was really good for a while. And then they decided, due to complaints, because people were saying that Grammarly was racist for telling black people they were spelling words wrong, that they were going to do a more unfiltered community approach to how the Grammarly program dictates language to people. But then, because of that unfiltered approach, it started telling everyone to spell black. Like, it was saying, hey, you spelled this sentence wrong of, you know what you have to do. Here's a recommended respelling of the sentence. You gotta do it, go, dog! And it's just like, no, that's not actually how I want to spell that sentence.
I've had that before where, like, I showed you this, Sneaky, but I would have somebody, I think it was like the word like crazy, where it's like, this is an offensive word. Try, so and so.
Yeah, Grammarly did that for a while. Yeah, Grammarly literally also did that for a while, where it's like, you used the word firefighter it is more inclusive to use the word people who fight fires. I'm just like, are you fucking shitting me, Grammarly?
Yeah. And I mean, there can be like a time and place like for that, but like if it is too overly like inclusive, yeah, it waters down the dialogue. There was an interesting anecdote I heard one time. So I screw up pronouncing his name, but it's Pahaunik, the guy that wrote Fight Club. I don't know how to
Right.
say his,
Sure.
anyways,
Yeah.
but the guy that wrote Fight Club, he was in a writer group, and he like was reading this fiction these other people had made, where it was like this grotesque, like body horror, like violent, like people are chained up in a basement, getting like their
Right.
organs torn out, like vile stuff. And then Pahaunik, he wrote a story where it was this like introvert guy who would like stay at home, and basically he was like the character's describing to a therapist like, oh yeah, I would I'd beat off into like a napkin, and then like sometimes like the guy said like the character's claiming like his dog would like eat like the napkins they left in the ground, and the therapist is like, what the heck? And then the main character like would pause and be like, oh, I'm not a F word, like I don't want YouTube to
Right.
get pissed
Yeah.
off or
Yeah.
whatever.
No. Yeah. Yeah. No. I understand. Yeah.
And when Pahaunik wrote that his character said, hey, I'm not an F word, everyone in the writer group was like mortified. It's like, how dare you use that word? And he's like, hold up, I just got through like 3 stories worth of like murder, torture porn, and you're telling me I dropped an F-bomb, and this is like unacceptable.
Well, no, see, this is actually, I mean, this is a little bit of a side tangent, but this is also a very important mental thing. There is a subsection of people that do not believe in the idea of thinking about a subject. And by what I mean by that, it's if you think about a subject, they believe you are therefore accepting and promoting the subject. And they think that the best way to fight the idea of that thing they don't like is to never think about it, it's to never talk about it, it's to never bring it up, and it's to ruthlessly suppress everyone that mentions it.
Right.
And so, obviously, as you can imagine, it makes it very difficult to communicate with such people. Because they don't like a lot of words, and you don't know that until you say them.
And that is kind of a difficult thing that can be paralyzing as a writer. Is this like, am I going to be alienating people when I write so and so?
And the other
story,
that's
you
the other
will.
thing.
Somebody.
You're always going to alienate someone. Yeah, you can't please everyone. I mean, even with young adult novels, obviously not every young adult's going to read them. But you are going to be targeting, typically, men or women. And that's just how it goes. The books that make the bestseller list for men are not the books that make the bestseller list for women. There is an overlap.
Breeder fiction will merge the gender gap. Don't worry.
there is a overlap, but it is not the majority. And so you just have to figure out, is your story targeting men or is it targeting women? Is it targeting people who are physically active, or is it targeting people who are shy and socially reclusive? Is it targeting people who have a passion for empire building, or is it targeting people who really like a good romantic comedy? You know, you have to target people. You have to target a demographic. You have to pick which people to pander to in your story. And if it's a really well-written story, you'll get the people. You'll get a lot of people. You'll hit outside of your target demographic. Lord of the Rings was nerd shit. Ain't nerd shit anymore.
Right. And that's the thing. And when Sneaky says nerd shit, we mean nerd as in like true definition. Like if Tolkien wasn't a linguistics professor, he'd be working at like a nuclear reactor kind of nerd. Like all he did was like linguistics, and like Lord of the Rings was like a side project, and so you just kind of have to understand that, like going into writing. Like I to share with you guys, I won't say like who specifically it was, but I talked to like a writer that is associated with books you probably like read before, and I remember I got to ask them one time, I was like, okay, like, what is your perspective when you're writing? And the answer was really disappointing, and I still kind of fight it to this day. Is they told me I basically view myself as a mercenary trying to sell an experience to the person, and they give me money in return. And I was just like, damn, like they're right, but
I mean,
damn.
that's a very, I mean, so it's a really mixed bag, right? Like, I can certainly see that kind of perspective coming out of a Patreon-esque, public support-based sort of platform, where you are more trying to pander to an audience continuously to gain a continuous income from them. But I sort of, in my view, I view published books as a more enshrined process of like like once a published book is published, you really, unless there's a glaring fucking error, and sometimes not even then, that it's not getting changed, it's not getting updated. You know, you're not gonna go back to chapter 32 and be like, yeah, so some people said that I didn't really do a great job in chapter 32, so I'm gonna rewrite it now, and this is the new chapter 32. Like you can't do any of that. Like this is it. You have published the book. It is out there now, and it is not changing.
Sneaky, can I give a fun side note? Well, I think it's fun. Is that George Martin? Something that bothers him to this day is in one of his books. He has a horse that changes genders. Like it just kind of slipped through the cracks. So like in one part of the book, it's like a female, and then just suddenly it's a male at the end of the book. I'm just like, I don't know. I think stuff like that's kind of funny, but yeah.
Oh no,
like,
it is certainly it is funny, but it is actually a big exemplar of what I'm even saying. It's like that detail slipped through, and now it's unfortunately just out there. Yeah, most people will be like, oh, you know, he made a mistake. It's not some sort of hidden canon thing. It's just a mistake he made. But
and they won't even notice it, you know. Like
most people won't even notice it. But it's these sorts of things. It's like you have to be certain who you're targeting, how you're targeting them, the words you're using in the sentence, everything. Once you publish something, that's it. That's the final copy. End of story.
There's a quote from I forget, it was like one of the old school like Nintendo game designers where he said a rushed design is a good game that came out late. But like, or excuse me, I'm totally butchering. Let me rewind.
A rushed game is a bad game forever. A late game is a good game forever.
There you go, English.
Yeah.
You know, I
knew exactly what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah, and it applies. Yeah, yeah, Kudasai, thank you for knowing what I was saying. But it's very very important to think about that in terms of books too. Like cuz you do have a similar thing of it is like old school game design in the sense like I tend to think of like when you publish a book, it's like the release of your game. Like think of it like a disc or like a cartridge or whatever, and then a sequel is like an expansion, you know?
Effectively.
So yeah, and so like what I tend to do, like with my own writing, each person's different. But since I'm, you know, an American with cheeseburger brain, I'll think of like a movie in my head that I wish was like out, like you know, and it doesn't exist, and I'll be like, okay, I will take this medium that is writing, and I will conceptualize it and through language, like communicate that. And so I think if you really reflect, like you seem to have a vision for this the story here. Where it's like I want to do a steampunky like urban fantasy, and so it's like okay, like what kind of plot are we doing? So that's like we're not far enough in to know necessarily what plot it could be, but like is it a characters go from point A to point B? Like does Frodo go to Mount Doom, or like is it a heist? You know, do they steal a magical artifact from a bank? You know, and once you have that, it's like okay, what are the characters to do this, and what is the obstacle? There's a really good book. I highly recommend it. LeMay, like you know, if you want to take anything from this stream, this definitely there's a book called Save the Cat. It's a great book as far as writing mechanics. And one of the ways it kind of summarizes very very concisely the process of storytelling is stories revolve around hey, there's either a character or a group of characters. They see a cat, it's stuck up in a tree. That's act 1. Act 2, the characters in some way hatch a plan to climb up the tree. You know, that's Act 2. Then Act 3 is like, oh hey, we're up in the tree, we got the cat. How the fuck do we get down? So you know, like that, I think it covers like the spectrum, whether it's a space opera or some kind of fantasy like type story. It's
Murder
like
mystery.
what kind
Okay.
of what kind of movie in terms of language are you trying to convey, you know?
I
Murder
would,
mystery, interesting.
yeah, I would invest heavily in researching noir then. Act 4 in Asian stories somehow kill God. True.
Yeah, there are Act 4s in certain contexts. That's one of the beauties too. Is there's little
Yeah, Act
exceptions
1,
here.
oh, there's a cat. Act 2, we're gonna get the cat. Act 3, we got the cat. What do we do now? Act 4, we fist fought God. Oh.
Yeah, Act 4, the cat was God, and we threw it in a volcano.
Yeah, Act 5, we had a fun little time building sandcastles. Act 6, the entire empire exploded. Japanese storytelling.
Act 7, here comes the plague.
Yeah, true. But yeah, so if you're gonna do a murder mystery story, I highly recommend watching old noir films if you haven't already. Their pacing, their delivery, the details, the characters think in their heads that they're giving out to the audience in the way they do it, when they do it, how the characters are portrayed, how the villain is portrayed throughout the story. It's all down to a science. Literally, it's down to a science by this point. But like the peak noir films, I need to read Save the Cat. I always hear about it. Yeah.
It's good. There's also a film version of it too that I enjoyed. It's like Save the Cat for film. It's more for like screenwriting, but it just gives you an interesting perspective.
I will say the black and white version of Who Done It, that fucking board game.
Oh yeah.
You know, Colonel Mustard in the living room with the Candlebra.
I think it's Who Done It.
Yeah. There is a movie. There's a black and white movie version that I highly liked. I thought was really good in terms of faking out the
LeMay, another thing I would say too, I think like is a big takeaway, because I think right now you're
talking about Clue.
Clue.
Yes.
That's the one.
Which
But
also
I
had
think
a more modern movie that had a different ending depending on what country you were in.
Amazing. You know what? I will say,
That's
as an
kinda
author, if you're going to publish and you're going to become famous, I 100% recommend slipping in the 11 different ending story, where you tell everyone that there's 12 endings, only publish 11 of them.
To get them speculating.
And then
You know,
stealth publish the 12th ending way later on when everyone's trying to figure out who has the 12th ending.
I haven't confirmed, but I've heard that so the movie Fight Club, speaking of Pahonik, like the movie, in China, to my understanding, I could be off on this, but they changed the ending to where the character's like in a dream and he wakes up like in an insane asylum.
Yes.
Really funny.
A dream.
China also does this really weird thing where they in animation they change blood to suspicious white liquid because they think that's better.
Interesting.
Because
a little curious.
Their public opinion is that showing blood and violence to such children of young ages is corruptive to their growth experience. And so they still show the violence and blood to the children, but they just recolor the blood into white liquid.
Yeah.
And if you like, there's a Chinese Fortnite. I don't know if you've ever seen this.
I have not.
There's a Chinese Fortnite where when you defeat the player, the player's model stops moving, bows to you, places their loot on the ground, and then walks away.
It's like laser tag, but you like
Yeah.
you like lose your stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, Nito.
Okay.
Before I forget, LeMay,
Also,
I
they
think
replace blood with flowers sometimes as well.
Yeah.
oh, that's a
So when
little
you shoot
trippy.
people,
I mean,
flowers like splurt from them.
I don't know
Oh.
now. Like, dude, I
You
don't
know
like,
what? That really gives weird implications to the Chinese version of Ruby.
Yeah,
right?
true.
Ruby,
Dude,
Ruby
what's this
killing herself
picture?
every time.
Like the
Yeah,
white
that's an
blood type
actual
stuff?
legitimate Chinese recoloring.
Yep.
Look, I'm too
Oh,
internet
yeah.
brain for
That's
this
in
shit,
China.
dude. I don't even like. I'm gonna just pretend I didn't see that.
If I remember correctly, the Chinese version version of Hellsing Ultimate, where there's a scene where Alucard or Ceres, I think, lick off blood off their cheek.
Yeah.
It's China makes it white.
Yep. Yeah. They also China also animated a scene where two girls were hugging each other. They animated that out.
Right, the
But,
Arcane, where they're
Yeah, in
literally
Arcane.
leaning and hugging each other, but instead,
They still kept the scene. They just removed
Yeah.
the models from new renders.
Yeah.
yeah. So
But
it's just a blank space.
before I
Yeah.
forget, what I was gonna say is another big thing in addition to books like Save the Cat, much more helpful than on writing. I will say, on the note of Stephen King's on writing, I still recommend reading it because certain things Stephen King talks about, like how to do dialogue, I still think are really interesting. But if you're wanting to write noir, I would say find like the top noir stories, like Maltese
Yeah.
Falcon or whatever, and read those. Because something Stephen King did say that I think is a good quote is he said a writer that doesn't read is like a musician that hates listening to music. You know?
Yeah, I
And
mean,
think that's an
it's
interesting
so true.
perspective.
And I mean, it is very true. As I see lots of these writers who are like, I'm gonna write 10 bajillion stories. Each story is only gonna have like 3 chapters because I'm gonna move on to the next story because I don't know how to continue from here. And it's like, yeah, it's because you have all of 2 favorited stories on your fucking profile. You never read, dude. All you're doing is writing. You don't know how stories progress. That's why you can never write the next chapter.
And I have to say this too. What I've kind of gleaned is like, I think a lot of people that write, because again, America, cheeseburger brain, it's other cultures too, but Americans, since they have main character syndrome, I love to point this out,
Yeah.
is people desperately have a story they want to convey, and they don't know other way to communicate it outside writing, and so they don't actually care about writing. They're just kind of hoping some director or something like sees.
Well, I mean,
idea.
it's not just director. It's they just want clicks. So it's a very famous thing in fan fiction for people to do what I call meat suiting. It's where they hollow out a character and then shove their hand up the character's ass. Yeah, I mean, it's basically what happens because if we went to the Naruto section tonight, you would get 99 stories of Naruto characters, but they don't have any chakra. They're not part of the Hidden Leaf Village. Naruto's the son of a mafia boss. Sasuke's the son of a police chief. They're in a gay relationship with each other, and it's the 1950s in America. It's like, okay, you just wanted to write a gay love story of, cookie cutter, Hallmark tier rom-com. And you know that no one will fucking read this unless you make it Naruto. And so instead of making it Naruto, you just hollowed out everything about Naruto, took it all out, and were like, hey, look at all these fucking Naruto characters, guys. This is a Naruto story. Just ignore that literally nothing about it is Naruto besides the look of the characters.
Look, Sneaky, if I didn't have too much mental capital invested in all the writing projects I would do, I do appreciate fan fiction because, for example, if I was doing fan fiction, I just had to give you an elevator pitch off the top of my head. I would love to do it's like a World War II fan fiction, but instead of Hitler, it's like Bowser, and instead of Stalin, it's like Super Mario, and you just explore the Mario universe like World War II. Just something absurd. Just see how far you can take this shit. You're that's where I think fan fiction is pretty interesting. But I feel like a lot of
whatever drugs you're on, sir.
It's too much caffeine. That's
caffeine and weed.
No, it's got to be more than that.
I used to be a big weed enjoyer, but I stopped the devil's lettuce forever ago because I need to actually write. Dude, that's just like, look, if people want to smoke, that's cool, but like, it actually slows you down. I feel like, if you do it too much.
I mean, it
so,
literally
it
does.
definitely does.
Yeah, yeah.
I've purely anecdotal,
no-
but when my father was in college, he had roommates who were their first year they were making the dean's list, and then they started smoking their sophomore year, and they failed out.
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
And like that
Yeah.
was like the only change.
Yeah, and I mean, like, I look at it something kind of like alcohol. Like, I'm not saying everybody has to be a saint and live like a perfect life. It's just, it's not going to probably help you in the way you think it will. Like, I remember.
Unless it's
a couple-
cocaine. Cocaine will absolutely make you into a best-selling author.
Yeah, I heard a joke one time. There was a forest fire in like a Colombian cocaine plantation, and the joke is like suddenly like 400,000 screenplays in Colombia were made after the cocaine
Yeah.
fire.
Yeah.
Two of them by a bear.
Yeah, exactly. No, I remember I talked to one person where he had met. I'm sure you guys know who like Hunter S. Thompson is, like
Yeah.
classic American writer. But he had met Hunter S. Thompson in person one time. Well, not like directly, but it was like a writer, reading session. And like the vibe he got was Hunter S. Thompson is this like brilliant writer, and yet his drug use it almost felt like was holding him back, like in a sense. So that whole stereotype of like the starving artist or writers or alcoholics or whatever.
So from my position, I can speak on this at least, is that unfortunately I don't get a lot of editing done ever, because I'm fairly twitchy and stressed out usually. And drinking calms me down enough that I can just be like, "Yep, sounds good. Yep, sounds good. Boom, editing. I'm so good at this. Fuck yeah, let's go."
Hey, so you're telling me if I mail you a few Baileys, I'll get a lot more feedback from you?
Probably, yeah. No, maybe not Bailey. I might fucking firebomb you if you send me Bailey.
That's an accurate response to receiving Baileys in the mail.
Okay, what Maker's Mark? I don't drink.
Come out, you black and tans.
Yeah.
But no, seriously though. But I mean, unfortunately, there is. I mean, obviously, I'm not like immune to the effects of alcohol, so I do keep drinking as I'm editing, and then I do hit a threshold in my editing where I become too drunk to keep editing. So that you win some, you lose some.
Yeah, the Balmer's Peak, the ever elusive, ever elusive state of focus. Yeah,
it's the